Melody Waters. The juice, yeah, you know the juice. It's the juice. Wow, I said the juice. From the music that they playing, different artists, you can hear them tell their stories through the answers given in the interviews. It's the juice. Wow, I said the juice. It's the
Welcome
juice.
to the Juice Show. This is your host, Melody Waters. We are live here in Juice Studios. We got another dope show for y'all today and a really dope panel. So I'm super excited to bring this panel through for y'all to see. We have the lovely SongBird in the house with us today. We also have the light skin Keith Sweat. We have In the Cut. We have Yogi1AO and Davar is come through with us as well. I'm really excited to talk to all these people. We have panelists here from like different areas and different walks of life today that do different things, which is really dope. So I'm super excited to have this host of people together today. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Look at all your beautiful shining faces, man, on this lovely day. It's so wonderful to have you all here with me. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Let's go ahead with introductions and get started. I'm gonna start with ladies first and go ahead with SongBird. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. People who don't know who you are, maybe don't know a lot about you. Who is SongBird?
So, hi everyone. My name is SongBird, and I am a singer songwriter from Minneapolis, born and raised in Minnesota. And I do hip hop and R&B. R&B is my specialty, but I also err on the side of queenly self-care. Taking care of yourself is so important, and just uplifting women in general to know their self-worth. And so that's my message.
You know, I'm all about empowering women, so I definitely love that. That's super dope. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited.
Thank you for having me.
It is you do too. You're welcome. Let's go on. Light skin Keith Sweat. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I go by the name of CHJ, one half of Duck City. Melody, you so silly. I gotta be careful. But I'm one half of Duck City. We've been on the show before. I want to thank you once again for having us. We got some new stuff. We just dropped a project called The Pathway roughly about 2 months ago. We got another project on the way. Just dropped a single, which will be out on all platforms tomorrow, which is my birthday.
Hey, happy Earth Day to you, God. Peace and positive vibes in your new year.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Much success to you. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. You on your pre-Earth Day, you know, the day before you was born and stuff.
I'm gonna start cutting up as soon as we done.
I know it. You probably yourself the light skin Keith Sweat.
Man, I gotta be careful with you, like I said.
You gotta watch what you say. So let's go to the second half then of Duck City. Talk about In the Cut here. In the Cut, talk about it. Who is In the Cut?
In the Cut is an MC, artist, whatever. Like you said, I'm the other half of DuckCityMusic. We out of Charleston, West Virginia. Originally began this whole thing out of Rand, West Virginia, which is the hometown of Hall of Famer Randy Moss. I don't know, we've been doing this music thing for a good long while now. Just really started taking it serious, putting it out to the world 4 or 5 years ago. The reception has been really good from you know, the people that have heard and seen what we do, and you know, we've just continued to keep doing it, try to be better every day than the day before. So I don't know, like I heard my man talking about being from the DMV and the sound and all of that. We have a very unique sound coming from where we from, because this is the country. I mean, when people think of West Virginia, they think of the country. And which is nothing wrong with that. We are country, but when you hear our sound, it's it takes a lot of elements from city life, I guess you might say, being right here in the heart of the country. And we do a lot of what people might consider traditional, old school hip hop. So we don't really sound like what our name, you know, what our location is. You know, if you assume anything, you're probably gonna make an ass of yourself. You know what I mean? So, but we pride on ourselves on our sound and how we get down on the classic hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Feel. And yeah, that's it. We just love this music thing. We can't give it up. We've been doing it for a while, so that's pretty much our story.
Yo, that's dope, man. That's a good story. And they do say, you know, I'm assuming makes an ass out of you and me. So that's
exactly.
Yeah, I like your guys' music personally. So I guess I do see what you say about the old school kind of like, but that's the type of music that I like. I like all kinds of music. I can't even lie. I like this new shit too.
Right.
Forever young. So thank you so much for joining us today. Both sides of Duck City. I appreciate y'all for being here. Definitely welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Too.
We appreciate it for real.
I hope you guys like the new format too. You guys will have to let me know because you've been on the other version of the Juice, the old format, and now you're testing out the new format for the first time. So you have to let me know later what you think of it and if you like it better, if there's any way I can make it better, okay?
Nah, this is dope being able to actually see everybody's face and hear everybody's story. This is dope.
That's what's up. Thank you. Yogi1AO, what's going on with you? Tell the people who is Yogi1AO.
Larry Yogi Weeks. Yogi1AO that's my monarch, young original gangster imperial, the one and only. I'm a hip hop advocate. I'm artist and repertoire for It's Gorgeous Music. I'm the executive producer for the Culture Report on the Caddy Television. I'm a radio talk show host on WBOKradio.com. I'm a Townsend, Grantham University, Essex Community College graduate, did 10 years in the Army and Quartermaster Corps. Grew up in a military household. My dad, medical dude, Army. So I grew up pretty structured. I moved around a lot. Originally from San Diego, California, lived everywhere in between. Moved out to Maryland initially in like the mid-late 90s. Really levitated to the music scene. It was very different. I moved to Maryland from Chicago, so I was coming out of the house music. I was coming out of the percolator phase. And getting to Maryland was like, house music was different. You know what I'm saying? Like Baltimore, like I moved to Columbia, Maryland. So Columbia, Maryland was a planned community that's like literally a melting pot. Like you meet people from all over the world that live there. And so the music for me was a way to communicate with people. It was something in common that I had no matter where I went. Being a hip hop advocate isn't just, for me, not just about the sound of the music, but the culture of hip hop music, what it does, the influences that it has. I say all the time to artists when it comes to the content, that kids these days don't watch the news and pay attention to politics. They follow the leader. So one of the main ways that youth are led, their minds are led, is by the music that they hear because of how we look, how we portray ourselves, like we got it together. So they want to emulate who they see. Like when I was young, I saw gangsters. So that was the people. Like my mom and dad had good jobs and everything else like that, but I saw the gangsters that was out in the community, at the parks, at the rec centers, that like took care of everybody. But what they were speaking about West Virginia, I agree completely. I have a lot of artists out of West Virginia that I really rock with. Been doing numbers for years. Like you all said, you're familiar with the Martinsburg area. 2H Studios is one of my favorites. Jarrett's Top Flight Entertainment for videography, and Dip and Jebba and producing and engineering. But West Virginia does have, it is different because when you first cross the line into West Virginia, it's very rural. Like I have two ways to get into West Virginia from where I live. I can either go over the Harper's Ferry Bridge, which historically is where literally the last passage that Harriet Tubman took slaves across, but where John Brown got caught and all that. But it's very rural, it's very country. And then you get into these towns and you're like, hey, it's basically like being in the city, but in the middle of nowhere. West Virginia laws are different as well. That's what they say about assuming. West Virginia you don't have to have you can carry a weapon. You can carry an unconcealed weapon without a permit in West Virginia, and they have a stand down law. So if you run up on somebody and they pull their pistol on you, and you tell them you need to back up, and they take a step forward, you can legally shoot. You don't even go to the jail. The police show up, see that it was illegal shooting, you go home. That's why they call it Wild West Virginia. It's it gets grisly. But anyway, I'm a big homie to a lot of artists. That's how I got into being an A&R. I was in the music scene myself. I put music out, all that. I learned more on my passages in MC, and I start feeling like a lot of things weren't told and weren't being told to younger artists. They were, spending their money where they didn't need to spend it. They were stage chasing instead of handling their business, registering their music, all that. And then I was like, how come nobody's telling them this shit? So I just started getting more into that, which got me into broadcasting, which got me into really paying attention to artists' careers, started doing artist development, seminars. I'm a community activist as well. I'm here to talk about some things with some good people. And I do believe in everybody being kings and queens, and I do believe that that's something that we all have a responsibility to hold a title to. But that's why I refer to everyone, like Melody knows through the years, I always refer to her as queen, my kings whenever I see them. And to you all out in West Virginia, I didn't tell you all, to everybody out there, happy belated 4th of July and happy belated Juneteenth to you all. So I'm gonna stop talking because I talk a lot. Yeah, I'm Yogi and I like to rap. That's what I usually say when I get on stage.
Oh, man, thank you so much for coming through. And it's good that you like to talk a lot. It's a talk show. So you're in the right place. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. I host my own show I have a 2-hour show on Saturday night. So I just.
Right. So exactly. So you already know how it goes. It's easy to just kind of get going on something. Thank you so much for joining us. So Davar, last but definitely not least, for sure, Davar, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And I want to also give you a chance to tell people who is Davar McGee.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I am a film director and writer from Minnesota. I wrote a whole bunch of different films. Melody has read a whole bunch that hasn't been produced. She was actually starring in my first movie I directed as well. Amazing talent, so actually came in a couple of my projects, and this is an opportunity that I've been waiting for to be on your show. It's definitely been way too long. I should have been on your show some years ago, but that's probably more my fault than yours, so I take credit for that.
Should have.
But yeah, I'm a writer from here. Started off with acting, and then went into writing, and then went to directing, did some movies. I have a film called Titled Suspect that brings awareness to police brutality, and that film has been in a lot of different festivals. It's won some awards in different festivals as well. One of the awards was sponsored by HBO. Didn't get me that far, to be honest, but it was a great achievement of mine, and that one took me to different states. San Diego was actually one of them. And yeah, so that's what I do. Got a TV show I'm doing right now as well, and trying to get a couple other projects off the ground at the moment as well. So
yeah, thank you so much for being here, Davar. Like, for real, it's been a long time coming, and I'm really happy to have you here with me. He is an amazing writer, you guys. Like, I remember the first time I read one of his scripts that he wrote, I was like, I couldn't stop turning the pages, like, yo, he's no joke, man, seriously. So, and I have read a lot of his stuff, and I definitely always send more. IAmMelodyWaters at gmail.com.
I got more for you.
I love to read. I'm a big ass nerd. So, man, thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you for being here today. I know you have a family and stuff too, so I appreciate you taking that time away to be with us today. Everybody, family people, so I thank all you guys so much for taking time away from your family to be here with me. So let's get into these topics, y'all, because these are some really dope topics. And speaking of families, let's just start off with that, because I think that's really dope. The guys of Duck City, they each brought a topic. One of the topics is artists with kids, the benefits and the hardships of that. And I think that's actually something which randomly just happened to be perfect to kind of glide right into. It's a nice transition. So let's just go ahead and talk about that. I don't know which one of you have brought that, but if you'd like to kind of speak on what it was you were thinking about when you brought that topic, go ahead and do that.
I think it was me that kind of brought that up. That's partially why I was running late today. You know what I mean? I had to deal with my sons and make sure they was taken care of before I got on here. But we not new to this game. We've been doing this for a minute. We older as far as artists are concerned. And so, that's just one of the things. You're dealing with older people. A lot of the times they have kids, they have children to deal with. And everybody, I would never say it's not a pro, it's like it's a con. I would never say it's a hardship necessarily, kids, but it makes things tougher, especially dealing with like time management and things like that. You know what I mean? On the flip side of that, it's a lot of the inspiration, that comes with the art that we create. So, it's give and take. You know what I'm saying? But I know for us personally, Duck City, we both have kids that we deal with. We both work them in. So it's sometimes it's hard to juggle the time. You got to prioritize a lot of the times on what's more important, that particular day on things you got to deal with. You got deadlines with different artists you collab with and deal with. So it's a juggle. It's a constant juggle to be able to split that time up correctly and make sure you're doing the family thing, as you should. Make sure you're doing your art as you should. So, I just thought it would be interesting to hear from other people, kind of how they deal with their time management and how they prioritize, dealing with their family and dealing with the art and that kind of thing.
Yeah, for me, man, I have 4 kids as well. Got a wife as well. Been trying to do film since 2016, man. So I totally understand that hardship of trying to balance that. I've heard from my kids plenty of times like, Dad, you always gone. Like, you always doing something. You always doing your movies and stuff. Like, when can we come to your movie sets? When can we, you get all those kind of questions, man. And it's really just trying to find that balance is hard. But, it's definitely, like you said, there's no cons to it. Like, I wouldn't trade my kids over a film career or nothing like that, And I'm sure you do the same. Like, I'd rather have my kids at the end of the day because it is a motivator, being able to discuss some of my films that I haven't even had a chance to produce or anything, discussing them with my kids and they're understanding the concepts, or they'll watch one of my movies like Suspect or something and they'll be like, man, like, wow. Like, sometimes they'll just hear the movie and be like, hey, is that my dad's movie? Or one time I was out of town, they're like, man, we was watching your movies on YouTube, Dad. I'm like, man, like that kind of stuff is motivators that you can't get from anything else. So it's like, that balance is worth it, man. It's definitely hard, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
I'm single, but I have 3 children. And for myself, like what you were just saying, my head towards entertainment was a conscious decision, knowing how much time, money, and effort it would take to be successful or gain any moment. So I knew I would have to go do shows. Like, I would have to go work my 9 to 5, drive an hour, maybe an hour and 45 minutes away, go do 3 shows that night, and then get back to be up at like 5:30 in the morning to go back to work, because you got to have your bag to go get a bag, And a lot of the times I would just be in like, kind of a zone with it. It was just like, it was a schedule. But then, and the outcomes of that and the fruits of that with having children, and like I have like a lot of nieces and nephews. I have like from previous relationships, like stepkids, I still like look out for and things like that. But like when the kids in the neighborhood and the parents are like playing one of your songs, you know what I'm saying? Like you pull up at your house and all the kids are playing your song, and your kids like, that's my dad, When like in film, like my son, he'll be playing his video game, talking to his friends, and he wants to spit. He's like, hold on, that's my dad spitting, and I'm like, come on, son. My son's 8, you know what I mean? But it's, I like it when he's like, Dad, can you send me a clip of your TV show? I'm like, okay, that's dope. But the time and effort that goes into it, sometimes it can be overwhelming. It's like in my position where we put artists on tour. When artists are ready to go on tour, I'm like, are you sure you're ready for that? It's like, as an A&R, I have to make sure their head's right, their family's squared away, so that they can be as productive as possible in the time that they're going to be away from their family. Now, I'm versed in it from being in the military. I'm used to being away for like a year or two, not seeing anybody I really know, and I just develop wherever I'm at. But I ask artists that, it's like, are you ready to leave and be away from your family for like 2-3 years? Because the first tour you're going to go on is going to be your money tour. Your money tour is going to be in Europe and Asia, where they just eat up hip hop. They still wear Coca-Cola and Michael Jackson t-shirts over in Japan. You know what I'm saying? So you come over and you're an up-and-coming MC. They like up-and-coming MCs because they feel like they're the first ones they get to see you. But you're going to be chasing a bag to fund your career for about 2-3 years. And as your momentum builds up, you might have 6 months left on a tour, but already booked to go 2 years in Australia after that because you did so well. So you might not get to see your kids. You might not get to see your significant other until you start getting that bag up and you can fly them overseas for a weekend or something. But I think with having children, it's definitely a motivator, because I talk about leaving your footprint. Some people don't have anything that they leave behind. They don't have any music, no videos, no books that they wrote. They don't have any films that they directed. They don't have anything for people to remember them by. And having children is one of the biggest footprints that we leave behind. How we motivate our children, how our children see us. Whenever my son doesn't see me, he automatically, daddy's at work. My daddy works, and he understands. But then I do the really simple dad shit with him. Take him fishing out in the middle of nowhere where the cell phone don't work. So I don't even have to worry about looking at my phone. Just spend the whole day with my son out on the lake. You know what I'm saying? I take my daughter with me too. But in the entertainment aspect, like I've had that because I have so many MCs, so many artists that I know that have kids, and one of the bigger questions is when they start is, how come I can't go to your show, Dad? And it's hard to explain to them that they're not old enough, but they hear you writing the music, they hear you practicing the music, they see you practicing your performance, but they don't understand why they can't come to the show. So I used to set up where MCs could do a show so that their kids could come at like a roller skating rink. Mm-hmm. So then we would do like skate parks and stuff like that out in VA. We would go out and do skate park performances and stuff so your kids could come and see what you do. So it gives them a little bit more of a pace, like they feel more involved in your career.
Yeah, that's cool. We have people here in Minneapolis that put together shows for kids, like kid artists or shows that it's really dope. I like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I have a couple of songs with some younger artists, like a young artist, she's 14, her name's Shazzy Monet.
She's so dope.
Yeah, and so as a singer, I think it's a little bit different because I tend to get more all ages shows or opportunities to be able to work with younger artists and stuff like that. So my kids have been, my son, he's 6, he's been to like more shows than I can count. And then my daughter, she's even been to events as well. So luckily for me, I haven't had that issue as much. Of course, I still do the club shows, and I do collabs with hip hop artists that, their music is 21 plus, 18 plus age groups. But as a singer, I tend to have more shows that you can go to and more music that I can do at like festivals and live events. I do a lot of live events where it's live music all together and it's a family type of setting. So I get to bring my kids and I love that.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope that you get to do that. So yeah, and me too, I'm a videographer and an actress, so I too, my son, he comes on set with me. My son has been an extra in shows with me. Like, it's cool. Like I get to take him and, he holds a camera. My son will go out with me and shoot with me. Like if I get a job and I can bring him on it, he'll sometimes go and be my second camera and just take pictures and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, so my son, but he just turned 13 the end of June, and he gets involved, that's my youngest. My older 2 kids are grown and they're on their own shit. They do their own things, but, he's the only one that I still have to kind of, tend after. And he just kind of gets into the stuff I'm doing, or he just, whatever, leave me alone. I'll go play my video games. Peace. Like, so, but my son, I'm a single mom, and my son he gets it. Like he grew up his whole life with me being busy. I've always been busy. You know what I mean? So this is nothing new for him. So for him, I guess it was just kind of like, this is second nature. He doesn't even probably think about it.
Yeah, my son, when he was an infant, I had his car seat in the studio with me. And so he's been listening to me sing forever. And as soon as I could get someone to escort him, he was at as many shows as I could bring him to. And that's been my way of bonding with him. He loves music. He loves banging on drums, and he sings, but he's not that great, but that's okay, because that's my baby. But at the end of the day, getting your kids involved is probably the best thing you could do as an artist, because it's going to be continual inspiration on your part, and them being affected by music, which is one of the most influential ways to communicate, like we were talking about earlier. Just being able to learn how to communicate using music is a wonderful thing. And I'm so glad that I get to share that with my son. So
yeah, your kids have all been in the studio with you before they were born. Like, if you think about it, they were in there in the belly. Like, that's it. That starts it. I sang.
Yeah. It's a little bit different as a woman, because you know they're hearing the bass in the belly. So my son, he used to kick to the bass in the 808s, and that's for real. That really happens. So, yeah. It's different a little bit as a woman. As a man, you guys kind of miss out a little bit on that first initial part of the in the womb part, but at least you guys still get to develop that after the baby is born. So definitely bring your music around your kids, because kids soak up everything.
And they do.
Well,
Cool too, and like, our children are part of us. So even if they don't have like every single skill that we have, or they're not into every single thing that we are, you never know if what we do might spark some interest in them. And if we can nourish that in them young and get them going young on what their passion is, the quicker the better. The faster we get them on the path, the faster they can get to where they're supposed to be and start living in their purpose of what they're supposed to be doing. And that only happens if you're introduced to it and it's nourished.
Well, I was going to say, like, I also think it's important. Like, I came up reading and writing music, like private school. Like, as a kid, I went to like church school. So we sang in the choir. And then as I got into like late elementary school, I started playing instruments. So I started to learn how to read and write music as well. So like my going into hip hop was just natural for me. It's like, especially when like Rakim and them came out, they put melody to music. But I think it's important as entertainers, period, that our children know what we do and that they see it, because it does inspire them. Like, I love the fact that my children, like my son, when he was like 3 years old, his grandfather got him a full drum set, and he would wait until you announced him, and then he'd bang out on himself. And then now his interests are in music. Like, he wants to learn how to read and write music. He wants to play an instrument, you know? And I think that's important, because I've always said that music is another language that not a lot of people can get. Like, if you're reading and writing music, you're learning how to put math and figures into sound. And you can do that in unison with people that don't even speak the same language with you. And I think it's dope. As MCs, that's what we do. We take life and put it to a metronome and breathe it back out so people can understand a perception different. And when we have kids and they come up in that environment, especially positive brothers, it passes down to our young kings. It passes down to our young queens. They see how people treat their parent that's an entertainer. And so they understand that that's why daddy's a nice person. You know, daddy does stuff for these people. That's why they're always nice to him. But then they start to understand to be a stand-up man or be a stand-up young queen, because that's what they see in us without being, some people are really, you know, fired up about who they are when they're out and about. But like you said, most of us that have been in the game for a while, we're pretty chill. We're pretty just like goal-oriented with everything. And it's good. I think it's very good for our children to be a part of our lives and see what we do. And maybe not all the people we hang out with, though. I ain't gonna lie. I'll bring my kids around everybody. I ain't gonna lie.
Do that. You can't bring your kids around.
And I got pretty babies. Everybody think they can just touch my babies, man. I ain't built like that. I wear my chakra necklace. I gotta rub this junk sometime in the grocery store. I'm like, Your daughter's hair is so beautiful. Get your lady, you don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had that bad with my son. He's just way too cute. He got long eyelashes, and so I had to guard him heavy, especially at shows. And oh my God, this is your baby. Oh my God. And I have to keep him out his face. Don't try to kiss him. Don't even try to touch him. Just stay back.
True story. Like a year or so ago, I was at Giant Eagle, right? I had my son with me. And so I'm in front of him putting stuff up on the counter. So I hear this lady behind him start talking to him. So I I turned and looked a little bit. Heavyset older white woman, so I'm not paying too much mind to it. My son has he loves his kid, he wears a crown as well. But I hear the lady go, "You want to see something?" So I'm like, I turn around and she reaching down in between her big ass titties. And I pull my son back and I'm looking at her like, yo, what's wrong with you? And she pull a sugar glider out. The little sugar glider animal, she pulled one of them jokes. I'm like, yo, no, yo. You don't pull an animal from out your breast and show it to my 4-year-old. What's wrong with you? But I'm saying people, I'm real protective. I don't, Folks crazy, man. Folks crazy as hell, man.
Oh, people are crazy. Who carries?
What makes you think that's okay?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Understand that. And just like people trying to touch SongBird's baby, I don't understand that either. Concept of trying to touch other people's children, period. Like
before Corona, there was the flu. Like there was colds, there was all type of stuff, whooping cough. Get away from my baby.
No, I don't know you and you're probably dirty. I don't know if you're dirty and I don't touch my baby. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if you wash your hands after you leave the bathroom.
Exactly.
what?
You all up in your areas in your car, you get out and be like, hey, nah, man, just go ahead, man. That's like the whole Corona thing got us doing the kid and play foot bump.
Yeah, for real. That, elbow or forearm, I guess. Yeah.
Nah, we do the foot tap like kid and play.
That's what my
That's hip hop.
That's hip hop.
Straight out of house party. I ain't playing.
Yeah, that's what's
and your shoes better not be slacking, otherwise I ain't tapping your shoe either.
Now that's petty.
Hey.
petty, man. Petty. We gonna put
I'll give you a graceful bow. It's good to see you today, King. Good to see you today, Queen. I'm good.
There you go. There you go. That works too. So let's talk a little bit about some more stuff here. Let's go on to the next subject. I mean, did anyone else? We didn't hear from Light Skin Keith Sweat really much on that subject. You guys,
my situation with my children is a little different. My son's been in Charlotte, North Carolina, about 4 hours away from us for about 2 years now. So it's been a here and there thing. Of course, he doesn't live here, so I don't have him 24/7. My daughter doesn't live with me either. I live alone. She lives here in town, so it's a little easier to see her. But when he's in town, it's tough because I don't see him as much. So I have to put a lot of things on hold and fall back a little bit from things. They're supportive. They love it. One of their favorite songs is called "Every Day is Father's Day," a song we made a couple years back for Father's Day. They love that song. I think Davar was speaking about how his children and so was Yogi. They were talking about their children checking out some of their work, and anytime they like something, that's what's up. So for them to like the one that actually is about Father's Day, that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just because they, the big part is I mentioned their name at the end. So of course they excited about that, but they just actually like the song. They sing along. So that's pretty cool. My daughter can rhyme like off the top of the head. She's dope. She'll be 7 here in a couple weeks. And she's something else. It's weird to hear her go over trap beats, over boom bap beats. You know what I mean? So I'm working on now, just trying to groom her a little bit and see if it's what she really wants to do. This is something I never thought would be a real thing. Maybe my son. You just don't expect your daughter to be a rapper. She can also sing. So having kids is definitely challenging. Also, Cut spoke on time management, which is something I was terrible at when I was younger, which led me to have to work very, very hard now that I'm older. But I wouldn't say I've perfected it, but I'm way better at managing my time and kind of prioritizing. Once we got to doing this music thing a little bit harder, I had to cut a lot of people and a lot of things out of my daily routine. I just didn't have time for them. So one thing that helped me prioritize to get my time management a little bit better was prioritizing. I had to decide what was more important. You know, I don't kick it with the homies no more. I don't go out. I don't do much of anything. By the time I'm done working and handling business and making sure the baby's all right, there's not a lot of time left for even myself. So let alone for anything else. I think kids can be, like y'all said, a huge motivation because they gotta eat. You know, they can't feed themselves, and things have to be done. So when you make a couple dollars over here, you make a couple dollars over there, you start to see where your bread and butter is, and they looking at you every day. They need guidance, they need food, they need shelter, they need clothing. So what's more motivational than that? That's about as motivating as it gets. You feel me?
And I want to say something too. And as my son got older and he started to talk, you know, when he would listen to music in the car and he would start repeating the words, that's when I literally decided to start. I don't have to make radio edits when I started creating music. I started making clean music so that my son could say every word in my songs. And so it changed the vibe of my music to where I started doing like the things I think about, the things that I talk about, the things I work on as far as advocacy for knowledge and power. And, you know, I start putting that into the music without it being too X-Clan, you know what I'm saying? Without it being too Public Enemy.
Vainglorious.
You feel me? Boy, you don't shoot King. First, okay, let me ask you something. First hip hop movie you ever saw?
First hip hop movie? For me, it would have to be probably House Party for me.
Crush Groove.
Time I grew up in.
Crush Groove with the Fat Boys.
Mine might have been Breaking. I think Breaking
was after. Beat Street and Breaking came out around the same time. That was early 90s. I'm talking about back in like 86. Back in like 86, they made this movie called Crush Groove with the Fat Boys, where they had that song, "Oh, you get eat," you know. But I like up here is I don't know why I'm tuned like that, but like I remember, like music is there's so much in it. There's so much space to teach. There's so much culture in it. Like when you can go back, like when we all sat and talked, when I said like the football, like kid and play, everybody was like, "Damn, I remember that shit."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think as an entertainer, it's cool to be a part of that happening. You know, we're continuing that happening, and our kids are starting to be involved. So it's something that we're starting to learn now is like generational wealth and how to pass down our knowledge and how to pass down our dollars and make our dollars go around more than once. You know. Make our dollar last longer than 60 minutes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And now that we have knowledge of that, we're putting that down to our kids. So our kids might come out with a better start than we had. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And that's our whole point, is for them to be better than we ever could be. Yo, CHJ, I just want to say, like, we need some more dope females in hip hop. So she's right on time, baby. She's right on time. Thank you. Need her.
She's something else, man. She talks a lot, and she's into, you know, they have those little girly pop groups going on right now online. I think one of her favorite artists' name is Lele. The little girls are talented, and she's kind of taking after them, and she's picking it right up. You play a trap beat right now, she'll give you a good 4 to 6 bars of some beat before she starts stumbling a little bit. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. I don't want to pump her up too much. I got to get her groomed to get her in the kitchen. I got to get her in the gym a little bit, shooting a few J's. But
throwing some punches so she can go out there with the heavy hitters. You feel me?
I got to get her in the gym, man. Get her jumper right.
Just please help her not be so over-sexualized as a woman, because that's so bad in the industry right now. please teach her to be a young lady with those rhymes, because right now I feel like the industry is overcrowded with over-sexualized young female rappers. So I really hope that you groom her in a way that she can be sick with the bars and still have respect and be a lady. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. She doesn't have a choice over here.
Yeah, I was about to say, he a black dad. Ain't no way
She will not.
Exactly. That's why I made that face like.
Listen, we won't even be working on her craft or recording anything until she gets a few other things taken care of in life as well. You know, we're not gonna get into her. She's 6, so she does 6-year-old shit. But
Right.
there's some things that we need to address. That's a privilege to be able to, you know, put these things together. You don't get to do that if your grades ain't right, your room ain't clean. You know, you talking back. So before we even get to that, she gotta have her stuff together. Once we get to that point, I wish she would. I wish she would.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always down for a lady doing and representing herself however she feels she wants to. That's, you know, I'm all about women being empowered and being who they want to be. But I agree a little bit with you, SongBird, that women are a little maybe over-sexualized right now. And it would be good to just see a chick, like we see some female independent artists that are like that. A lot of female independent artists are still just like, yo, this is who I am. Even if I'm sexy, I'm still not just completely out there. I'm sexy because I'm like, and that's just who I am. But you gonna hear this because I got something to say. And that is, to me, like, let's go back to that. We were just talking about that in the, I think it was the last episode of The Juice, actually. Miss Carla was talking about that. Carla Michelle, she was talking about women and the over-sexualization of it. And, like, let's go back to that middle term, you know, like Eve. Let's go back to the Eves.
Yeah.
Just because that
She's one of my favorite artists.
is sexy, but they got a cold mouthpiece. You know what I'm saying? About them while still respecting.
Hold up, see.
But they got a cold piece. Their mouthpiece is cold. You feel me? Like, damn.
Y'all,
right.
see,
I feel like a woman. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just gonna say, y'all. Go ahead.
I just feel like when a woman talks, her speech should garner her respect. And I feel like when you're over-sexualized in your speech, then you don't get the respect that you deserve as a woman. So that's the reason why I say that. And I totally agree. Eve is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill, she's another great example of that. I agree.
Missy Elliott.
Is we're automatically, as women,
Missy Elliott, Latifah.
We're automatically sexualized as women, period. Like, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, because we're gorgeous. I mean, yeah, hell, I don't blame men for sexualizing us. But at the end of the day, we have to put the boundary up of where is that gonna stop? Like, how am I representing myself? How do I allow people to speak to me? How do I speak about myself? How do I carry myself? That's where we have to set our boundaries. And with that, people will respect your boundaries. So
yeah, don't place your sexualizedness as a limitation for yourself. You know, there's a lot more that, you know, you can offer, and that's what I like. Even like Rhapsody right now today. Like, we need more Rhapsodies today than we need city girls. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's. I feel like that's already out there. You just got to know where to look for this stuff.
We got to support it. We have to be the ones that support it.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. I get to chill with, there's a lot of female MCs, like the brothers from WV know, like out of DC and Virginia, there's a lot of female MCs. We had this project up here by my sister, Kenilworth Katrina. She put together this project called the Resurrection Queen. She got 30 female MCs from out the DMV to come together on this self-destruction video that they made. And now she's putting together a Resurrection Kings for a lot of the vets and some of the up-and-coming artists from the DC metro area to represent positively and express themselves about what's going on in their city. But I wanted to say about the over-sexualization. I think that, like, in the music industry, what happened was, when we talk about like MC Lyte, Roxanne Shante, Queen Latifah, Lady of Rage, Missy Elliott, when we go into the Brat, remember when the Brat first came out, she tomboyed it.
Yes.
And then because back then it was an anomaly to have a female MC that was dope enough to compete, because that's all it was competing with the men. It was bar for bar, whoever made the best song. But then after it started being a flood of female MCs, they were like, all right, this is becoming a very equal plane, right? So the only way to really stand out then came into Foxy Browns, the Lil Kims, came into, and not knocking them, because they was on they was getting bread.
Right.
And then the Khaleesas, and it started to show like, you know, Queen Latifah would never step on a stage in a bra and panties with high heels.
Nah, hell no.
You know what I'm saying? Even the Brat, like, she would never. And the Brat, to me, I know she came out now, but when I was younger, the Brat was fine as I don't know what, boy. But there's a lot of female MCs that are record breakers. Like Missy, like when people talk about female MCs and they don't mention Missy Elliott, that bothers me.
Missy Elliott's dope.
Because she just hit the Hall of Fame. Like, but people forget about her because they're paying attention to the over-sexualization. There's so much access right now. If you put a half-naked chick dancing on a car on YouTube, a 14-year-old boy gonna watch that video 9 times on his phone.
Yeah.
We might not watch it. We might, because we're not interested in the content. But I mean, I think it has a lot to do with how we raise our young queens. How they learn to value themselves, not be objectified. Like I'm a big brother. I'm 6'3", like 220. So I'm automatically expected to like get stuff off the shelf for people at the grocery store. Nah, that's not my life issue. It's not my life issue. You short. I don't work here. Yeah. I could be a nice guy, but don't automatically expect. And like when it comes to my baby, she princessed up. You know what I'm saying? Like. But she also understands that nothing will happen to her. Dad will never let anything happen to her. And like you spoke about, we're black fathers. We're black fathers.
Bag, that's where the bag is at. You know what I mean? I don't even think the ones that's doing that, they paying attention to them, but that's not all they do. They just know that's where the money at. You know what I mean? You can't be. I mean, partially you can't be mad at them for getting their money. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If they're not getting supported, then they just like all the rest of the people that we talking about that. More people should hear about them. You know what I mean? I mean, if nobody supported these people, then they wouldn't be up there. They wouldn't be out there like that. So, I mean, you know, you got to just stay true to who you are. You know what I'm saying? But you know, if you could do it this way or do it that way, and that way is the way where the money is, where the bag at. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, I mean, some people they're in a hard situation where although they may want to maintain their integrity don't pay the bills all the time. You know what I mean? So. And then, you know, if people support that, you can't be mad at them for half the time. That's where it's at. That's what people want to see.
The thing is, though, you know, these artists aren't the ones popping up with this big bag. These artists that we're talking about have crazy budgets. I mean, they are putting crazy money behind marketing these little naked chicks. You know what I'm saying? It's not like them coming into the game with 1.5, like, yo, running up on stations. No, people are putting big bread behind these artists. So the artist can't be but so much to blame. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you putting 1.5 million behind this little naked broad, man, you know what I mean? She probably gonna do something. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. You know, if the beat popping, if she doing a little bit of something, somebody's gonna support it because now you see her everywhere, as opposed to this conscious chick or this chick that covers her body up that can rhyme. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have a budget. She's not in a situation where she's going to be on the Breakfast Club or have a song with Yogi1AO or whatever the fuck gets you out there. And that's the difference. It's not so much the artist's fault, I don't think. I think whoever putting that big bread behind these artists to promote them and market them.
Yeah,
I mean, and whoever support it though. I mean, you could put all the money in the world. If the masses don't support it, then it ends. Then it's just gonna end. You know what I mean? That's where it stops.
Yeah.
But you have such a better chance of getting supported with all that money behind. It's just there's
definitely. Yeah, definitely. No, I mean that's what's popping. I mean, call it right or wrong, that's what's popping.
They do that on purpose. They put these women out here like that on purpose. They do put all that money behind it on purpose. It's done on purpose. And yeah, I totally agree. That's why I say I feel like women should do whatever they feel empowered doing, dress however they talk, however they want to talk. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to represent you. Nobody else has to represent you. So if you're comfortable with however you put yourself out there, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Let's be clear. We've had enough of that shit, though. Let's be clear. There's enough of it out right now. In my opinion, we've got enough city girls. I'm good on all of that. If I don't see no more, I won't be too mad no time. I'm good on all of that shit.
I won't be mad either. Wait, said that's exactly what's going on, though. That's what's being money put behind it. That's where the money is at. That's exactly what's happening. That's where the money is at. And
but is that an agenda? Is that an agenda though? Because if they're putting the money behind it, that makes me feel like it's an agenda. What are you trying to teach our young girls out here about in that are listening to this music? Just like we said, music is one of the most influential mediums. So if all of our music is sexed out, what are we thinking that's going to happen to our young girls?
It's an agenda altogether. It's always been an agenda, man. One thing that Most Def said, like back in '96, he was talking about how Snoop Dogg might get more play than him, even though he's some really deep stuff. And Snoop Dogg at that time really wasn't. And they had asked Most Def, was he mad at Snoop? He was like, I'm not mad at Snoop Dogg. I'm mad that you guys aren't equally pushing everything. You guys are really, really pushing a different narrative than you guys would equally put. Like, just play us the same amount. If you just play us the same amount, you give the masses an opportunity to hear both and make their choice, but you don't even give them that choice because you're only pushing one narrative. And that's really, like, even with, like, we don't really hear no Rhapsody on the radio. Even, like, come on, man, she got bars.
That's why I say I saw a big shift in the industry around the time you were speaking, about '96. There were a lot of one-hit wonders coming out. Big labels had big staff, and they were changing people's tax bracket overnight because they heard one song from them. You know, we're talking about like going through, like, it was a Snoop era, but we're talking about going through the Craig Mack era, going through, like, you know, it was artists that would come out a hit, but they would give them like $2 million to sign, but then they couldn't produce another track, so they ended up indebted. You know what I'm saying? But I said the same thing, which made me, what that did was, it pushed me to just listen to what I wanted to listen to. So when the avenues start opening up to just type in what you want to listen to and not have to just listen to the radio, because I always wondered why Black Thought wasn't pushed more. I always wondered why the Lyricist Lounge wasn't pushed more. I always wondered why we never heard Dead Prez on the radio except for in certain regions of the country. You know what I mean? Like, but then Soulja Boy's cranking on every station. Not to knock him either, you know, he got his bag, he's doing his thing, but I think I do blame it on being a label executive. I do think that it's the responsibility of the label of knowing. Now, the higher ups go by numbers and profitability, period. And y'all know that as artists, y'all know that. If you approach a sponsor or you approach an investor, they're not even going to listen to your music. They're going to flip through pages of graphs and look at your numbers, see where you compare, see where you're more marketable. And just like we were talking about how young women are presented, how young female MCs are presented, they're like, well, yeah, we'll sign you, we'll give you a $3.5 million signing bonus, but we're going to hook you up with a stylist to help your image. You know what I'm saying? They do that. They do that to the young boys now.
They're changing their lyrics.
They do that to the young boys. What Davar's talking about is the agenda. It's to make hip hop seem like it's a circus. Look at the costumes they wear. They're a millionaire. But you got to remember, the people that make millionaires are billionaires. That this is one investment of theirs, but they control this investment. What I love that's happening in entertainment is the right and the power to have independent sources to be able to put music out, to be able to sign artists, to be able to have them show them how to invest, get their own bag to reinvest into their career, and not have to go through the gatekeepers that are going to tell you, well, I think you should wear skinny jeans and rock a purse so that you can get your numbers up. Like, man, I'm too old for that. Well, I'm saying, you want the bag or not?
Man, I'm trying to.
We're gonna change, and we're gonna change half your lyrics.
Mm.
You know, and we're gonna.
Or you can't talk about certain things. Certain things become faux pas, like
controversial.
You can't discuss that exactly. Yep, they control what you can say, what you can't say.
And at the same time, that same label that's telling you to do all that, because they gave you a sign-in bonus, they own 80% of whatever you make, and they hold your publishing over you.
Yep.
That's the agenda. The agenda is I don't know if you guys ever listen to Def Poetry Jam, but there's an artist on Def Poetry Jam that speaks about the industry. His name is Black Ice. Some of his content, and I'm talking about stuff from like the mid-90s he was talking about how, okay, they started a war on drugs, right? But constitutionally, it's illegal to activate U.S. troops on U.S. soil. You're not supposed to do that by law, right? But so since the war on drugs is filling up the prisons and people are becoming more conscious of that, so they're steering the youth away from hustling. They're telling them if you can hustle, then you can start a company. I got brothers starting off their daughters with lemonade companies, and they're organic, but they're teaching their kids how to hustle properly. Now, if you see that that's not happening anymore, then they have to create another way to get that dope into the minds of the youth. So the bad music with horrible content is the dope. And it's easier to push that dope into the youth's mind through just pushing it on every platform than let them hear somebody that speaks about something that's conscious, that tells them that they're not just built to be on the block. They're not just built to be a bag boy. They're not just built to be a grand man. It's not an aspiration for you to try to be a kingpin or live that life. But when you speak about that, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. We see what's going, like you all are in Minneapolis. I was going to say that there's a place I've been to Minneapolis. I've been to Minnesota, and then I've been to St. Paul. There's a really big amphitheater along the river in St. Paul that I used to go see live shows there. I was there for about a year or so.
Yeah, the River Center.
Yes, ma'am. That thing is beautiful.
Yep.
But I do think it's a responsibility of the labels to not just sign artists because of their numbers, but pay attention to their content, because like I tell the artists that are signed underneath the label, how you present yourself, you're not just representing yourself anymore, you're representing your label mates as well. So if you put some bullshit up on social media, people gonna think that that's the quality of work that your peers do. And some labels don't give a shit. As we know, a lot of labels are owned by people that have they don't care about the urban community. They see the urban community as a honeypot that they can just stick their hand in and grab money out. Bad content pushes what? Then that pushes their clothing brand. It pushes the culture to shift. As we're talking about a lot on media platforms, the demasculation of the young Black man. Putting people up, putting grown men that are hip hop, they're becoming hip hop icons in dresses on the cover of magazines, so that the young men are like, maybe I should wear a dress, tattoo my face, and pierce my shit all up, then I can go get a bag.
I mean, demasculation of manhood is even with women, like insinuating that men are nothing but tricks. That's demasculation too. It's just on the other end. And
when we go into that goes into the automatic assumption, like the way that our society is built. The way that our society is built, me as the man, I'm supposed to pay for everything. We go and I'm paying for everything, and I'm gonna take you shopping. You need some bill money, boo, right? Now, if a man says, you paying for dinner? You know, I can use a new pair of J's, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm kind of short on my rent. He ain't shit.
Right, now
now he a bum. You know what I'm saying? Now you ain't got no bag. Damn, I'm always looking out for you. But on the opposite end, it's just expected. Some women will say, I ain't giving them none until I get a bill paid. What? What? All right, I'm good. I'll holler at you later then. I got my own bills to pay. What do you mean?
I feel like that's craziness. First of all, I think people are supposed to be like on a path together. You shouldn't, if you don't plan on doing whatever you're doing together as a unit and a team, then you shouldn't be. So all those other things are not that kind of mindset. That's something else. That's just like temporary shit.
Too much television, too many programs that tell these young queens that they don't have to work for anything. All they have to do is dress, put on good makeup, dress cute, get you a good man, get you a baller.
That also comes with self-worth. It also comes with self-worth, which comes back to my mission. Like, that's why I push it so heavily. Being able to bring something to the table other than, your box.
And see, they're not, but on mainstream television, they're not promoting shows like that. You have to go to one or two channels to find any type of show that empowers young women and shows young women in enterprise.
Right.
Like they'll put up how many people got shot, but they won't put up those 9 Supreme Court judges that were all Black that all graduated the same year. They won't put that up, right? But they'll put on a whole bunch of Real Housewives. They'll put on a whole bunch of Love and Hip Hops. You know what I'm saying? They'll put that up all day.
Positive light too.
All day. But they won't put up a women's empowerment, a self-education course. You got to go to like the We Channel or Lifetime to find something like that.
I mean, women get downplayed a lot. Let's look at Breonna Taylor versus George Floyd.
Oh yeah, we haven't even heard about this. Haven't even been.
It's almost the norm. It's the norm. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. And so I also feel like it's part artist's responsibility to, bring forth the truth and speak on it and stand on it. And as women, that's why it's important as women. Me being the only woman on the panel, I'm speak for it. It's important as women to stand on your self-worth.
Absolutely. I'm going to speak with you, girl, because I'm all about that. I'm all about empowering women. I do my part. I think as women and as artists and as creatives, we have to do our part. We have to stand firm on who we are. And that's why you don't see me. I don't sexualize myself. I'm not on social media talking about all dicks I suck and how good I'm at this and how I want this and I want that, and I don't put my body on social media. You see women doing that type of stuff and they bring this attention to themselves, and it's like, I'm not going to do that. So it hinders my reach. Yep. Believe it or not, whether people realize it or not, because I don't put my ass and my tits all over social media, I have a smaller following. But the people who follow me for the right reasons.
So, exactly. I can second that.
For me,
I can definitely second that.
Maintain.
I'm all the way out here in the DMV, and I've been following you for years.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and respectfully have been following me for years. As all of the men who follow me are very respectful of me, and that is something that I think shows a lot about not only how I carry myself, but the character of the men who I attract into my circle. So.
And that should be put on blast too. I'm glad that was just mentioned because that's important. A lot of people don't realize the value that they bring to themselves when they hold themselves to a higher standard and expectation of how they treat others, how they present themselves, and how they let people treat them.
X. And we have to do that as women, and we have to stand, and that's why we have to empower each other, and we have to stand strong together. And if we don't, we are our biggest enemy, because we can be our biggest ally. Like, we can be so strong together as women. We are so powerful. Women are so powerful. We rule way more than what we realize. And the moment that women realize how much power they really have, we can change. We can make a lot of changes in this world for the better together. So I'm with you, sister. I love you.
Like it.
So definitely, we got off topic, but that needed to be talked about, and I'm super glad that we talked about that. I think that we should kind of go into that, because I think some of that has to do with a little bit about what Yogi1AO had brought. His topic was mental health and the urban communities, because mental health is something that kind of like, this is a good transition into the mental health topic. For me, anyways. I don't know if you guys see the connection there, but Mr. Weeks, if you could please talk about what you were thinking when you were mentioned that topic of mental health in the urban communities.
I don't really wanna fight no more, and I won't make the same mistakes. I'm leaving you alone. Late night, I won't be alone. Wishing I was there beside you.
What the fuck you think this is?
Let's start from the beginning. I was your woman. You always upbraided me in every way. Then suddenly you flip
this is? What the fuck you think this is? What the fuck you think this is? What the fuck you think this is?
I wish there was something you could say to make me stay, but it's time for me to go, 'cause you won't know what you got till it's gone. Time for me to move on. And for a while I know that you'll enjoy yourself until one day it'll hit you like, damn, I miss my baby. And you'll regret the day you let me walk away. When the sunshine comes, you'll feel like you're missing something, 'cause when you was down and out, I was there for you. But I'm stronger now, I can't cry no longer, I won't keep going back and forth. Baby, I realize now that I'm gone, I don't wanna fight no more, no more. And I won't make the same mistakes, I'm leaving you alone. When it's late at night, you hold your pillow, wishing I was there beside you, 'cause lately things just ain't been right between us.
What the fuck you think this is? What the fuck you think this is? What the fuck you think this is? What the fuck you think this is?
Baby, I gave my heart to you, and you let it slip away and shatter. What I need, I guess you can't provide. The fussing and the arguing convince me, 'cause I'm done with it. When you figure it out how foolish you are right now, I'll be gone. I'll be with someone else that loves me. When the sunshine comes, you'll feel like you're missing something, 'cause when you was down and out, I was there for you. You're gonna miss me, but we can go back to the way that things used to be. So much on my lips right now. My tongue tied into knots and twists. Can you read all the words that I mouth? Can you feel me like a kiss? Blowing back in my mind. My thoughts tricking me all the time. Not one more word from you. I think I found a way to say what I wanna. Stay with my soul, please don't let go. I would give you anything, 'cause you are my everything. When words won't say all, I want you to know. Pay attention to the space I'm holding for you and for me. You're here, you're welcome. Don't thank me yet, savor this. Don't hide, 'cause I ain't got no time to waste, 'cause I made this space. We fill the room from wall to wall, and leave no word unsaid, 'cause I like that, baby. I made headroom, invited you, 'cause I want us to lay down and spread. Stay with my soul, please don't let go. I will give you anything, 'cause you are my everything. When words won't say all, want for you and for me.
I think to all the kings on the panel, they're going to really relate to this. We as kings out here, and I'm speaking of Black men, there's a lot pushed upon us. We deal with a lot of pressures and stresses. We move about our life differently than most people. I'm a very confident person, but I still check my mirrors. I don't speed. I drive a fast car, yo. But I do the speed limit. It trips people out. I'll do that little 5 miles over. They'll fly past me. I'm Black. But I don't think that people pay enough attention to the mental health of a king, especially kings that have children and may not be with their children every day. Some people, that's just a norm for them. When they view it, they're like, oh yeah, okay, something might have happened or something like that. But they don't understand the mental health aspect of a king that doesn't have to see with them every day. The worry, what you're built to do. We're built to provide and protect. When that's taken away from you, that bears on you. But then we suck it up, we drive on. But then it affects other parts of our life. When we walk around with frustration and we walk around feeling oppressed, when we walk around knowing that people are looking at us, when, I don't know about y'all, but when I pass a cop, it's always a little bit of a deep breath. You know, I don't ride dirty, nothing like that. My vehicles are all good and everything like that. But because I'm like, are you gonna pull me over or not? Now, and then comes with the way, like we're speaking in the last topic, I'm, you know, like the two kings in West Virginia said, they're very hardworking men on top of everything else they do in entertainment. And sometimes because you're not, you know, going to the Cheesecake Factory on a date, then you ain't shit. You know, if you're not pulling up in something, you know, you ain't shit. If you ain't got the new J's, you ain't shit. He wore that hat 2 weeks ago, he ain't shit. But then expect us to provide everywhere with what we're blessed with in full confidence, with a smile on our face. And I think that a lot of kings don't ever speak to anybody about their life frustrations. They just process through it because we're told in the urban community that you're supposed to be mind strong, head strong, don't show anybody your weakness. So I think there's a lot of people in the urban environment that never get help for trauma that they've gone through, things that they might not feel as trauma because they don't want to be a bitch. I ain't no bitch. I don't need to talk to nobody. I got this. But you don't. The things that when you're by yourself that break you down a little bit, that give you that little bit of doubt that keep you from taking that next step forward in your progress. That's something that I say to my young artists. Don't ever be afraid of the responsibility of success. Right? Because mentally we're told, oh, what, you think you better than me because you're doing this or that? Yeah, I've worked for this. I definitely do think I'm better than you. You changed. Anytime somebody says you changed, they're like, man, you know, I'm the same since they, no, you should change. That means you're growing. You're developing into the person you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
You should be a different
But what's put on us, that pressure that's put on us in the urban environment is you got to be tough. You're supposed to be a gangster. You're supposed to either be robbing, killing, if you ain't got no chopper on you, then you ain't street. If you ain't got no bags, you ain't street. And like people ask me, or do you follow the Malcolm or the Martin in this era? I said I follow the Garvey. I follow the empowerment, the unison. I follow that part of it. But I think that in the urban, and not just the kings, queens too. There's a lot of damaged queens out there that get good kings and they damage these kings.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that have gone through things aren't over it. They jump right into something else, and then they're bringing that in. Now you're toxifying someone else's life, and that cycle happens a lot in the urban environment. I've met people that have never, that grew up 45 minutes from DC and have never seen that, they've never gone to the monuments. I'm like, how does that happen? How does that happen? How do you live so close to DC but you've never been? Like I'm talking about people in their 30s. I know people that have never been to the beach. To the beach, young. 30 years of their life in the same community. So they're dating the same people that were damaged by the same people. Because nobody reaches out and says, hey man, I need some help, yo. My head ain't right. I'm making moves crazy. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm putting all my energy into this. It's unfruitful, but for some reason I keep doing it. Mental health, I think, is very important. I think it's very important that we address it, especially in these times right now where it's harder now, I think, to be confident with our children out here.
Yeah.
Because we're raising kids out here too in this environment, and if we aren't straight, we're passing down some very bad shit. We're polluting our community with the way that we treat ourselves, and by not seeking help ourselves so that we can be 100% to receive what we have in our communities.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was reading an article because I'm a reader like Melody. I'm a nerd, definitely. I was reading an article, I'd say maybe 2 weeks ago. It was about Jay-Z and Beyonce. And Jay-Z, he was actually, talking about mental health. And he was talking about the things that he went through on the streets growing up, and then dealing with his first wife and his child that he was not able to see anymore, and how that messed with him. And then he got with B, but he wasn't healed from his past relationship. So him and B ended up going through a lot of things. And then even when he had Blue, Ivy Blue, where that should have filled the hole that he thought he was going to fill, it didn't. And so he had to he was talking about how he had to really go in and heal. Then I guess him and B had a miscarriage that ate at him. It's so many things that men have on them that, they don't get credit that they have to carry, and they have to actually heal. And it's a healing process for not just men, but women, both people. And especially when you're dealing with a relationship and that's really close quarters, you guys swap demons. Y'all swap everything that y'all are going through and fighting. Y'all swap that off of each other. And so it's really important to take care of your self-care and your mental health, especially if you want to deal with another person, but you also have to think about your children. So it's even more than just relational as far as a relationship with a guy and a girl. It also goes down to your children, because just like you can pass those demons off to a partner, you can pass them off to your kids. And so some of the things that you might be struggling with in ways that you move because of things that you've been hurt with in your past that you haven't healed from, you're now going to affect your children in that same way. And it could be a toxic cycle that you're now going to pass down to your kids. And so, especially in the urban community, waking up seeing dead bodies is not normal. And it's something that people have to heal from. That's stuff you see in war, but it's stuff that we've seen and it's almost normalized in the urban community. And that's stuff that people have to heal from.
Definitely. I'm so glad you said something about like men not being able to like admit that they have things to heal from. That's so huge. Like as women, we're kind of a little more allowed to say, oh, I have this going on or that going on. Not fully, but we're a little more accepted. But a lot of us aren't taught to take care of ourselves or to look out for our own mental health or to heal from the damage of our childhoods and, things like that. Like a lot of us weren't taught, and we have to like seek that out within ourselves. We have to make that conscious decision to say, yo, something's not right here. I'm not really sure what it is, but let me go figure it out. And we have to do that, but it's not taught to us. And as men, y'all are definitely told not to do that, period. I don't know how you grow up, SongBird, but I grew up like, don't cry, stop I'll give you something to cry about. Like I was
yes. And that's so toxic. It is so toxic to a man. And to be honest, I'm married, so I have a husband, and for my husband to be able to express things that are on his mind, I know the value of that, because it's something that is not always accepted from our men. And a lot of times it's shunned. Don't cry, you emotional, you weak.
You're weak.
And that's messed up.
That way either. I'm like you, where it's like, no, hold on, something's going on and we have to figure this out. Because if just men are no different, if you keep pushing that shit down, it's just gonna come out and explode in other ways. And then it's like,
it's called the tea kettle effect.
Okay, aggressive, but we didn't talk about what made him aggressive.
Yep.
That's called antecedents.
And sometimes it's so many different things. It could be a number of things that have just been pushing down.
Hey.
The first thing you're talking about is called the tea kettle effect. A lot of men deal with the tea kettle effect. They harbor feelings from different incidents. They never truly express how they feel. They never truly get the emotion out. They suppress it. So then all these feelings from all these small incidents build up steam inside of them. Then it's something very small, and boom, that whistle blows. That steam's coming out. That's the tea kettle effect. What you were talking about how people pay attention to what we do, but not what made us do it. Exactly. What makes someone act, not what makes someone act, but the things building up to an action that's unfavorable called antecedents. Antecedents, like I worked in mental health. I was a mental health specialist for a few years.
Cool.
Sociology, multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, and autism spectrum. But one of the biggest issues with mental health and people that are born with a disability or people that develop a disability, which in the urban community, a lot of us develop a mental health disability because of our lack of being allowed to express all of your emotions. Every emotion that you carry through your body is healthy for you to go through. It's healthy for you to get angry, so it doesn't harbor and you're not connected with what that feeling is. If you never get angry, though, the time you do get angry, it's gonna be everything you were ever pissed about. What you mean? What you mean they ain't got no more wheat bread? Oh!
That's who flipped about the nuggets at freaking Burger King or whatever. Do y'all remember that? Shorty came to the counter at Burger King about nuggets.
Prime example. Now, prime example, and not to bite on the situation, but prime example. That damn Popeye chicken sandwich.
Oh, people went crazy about that shit.
Yeah, everybody.
People killed about that. And the DMV somebody got killed over one of them jumps.
Same.
I mean, think about the tissue. It's the same with tissue. Everybody was fighting in the stores. They was fighting associates for tissue. Like what?
First of all, on that, how the hell they buy one roll a week? I don't understand. Like I understand being paycheck to paycheck, but you roll to roll.
He said, roll.
No, I'm glad we're having this conversation because, like y'all said, it's taboo to talk about mental health in the urban community, and of all places, that's a place that probably needs addressed. You're talking about people who watch their dad get killed or do a lot of time in prison, and people who grew up without anything. It can cause some problems if you've been broke your whole damn life. You walking around
on drugs,
getting money, you've been living in poverty your whole life. That causes issues. You watch your best friend get his head blown off. I know some dudes personally, in my personal experience, had a bunch of money. They was doing their thing in the streets. They got in trouble. They came home. Things weren't the same for them. They don't got that kind of bread no more, and they not the same. They are not okay. They haven't figured anything else out, and they're just not the same person. They're not in a good mental spot because of that. We don't talk about these things, and it's taboo. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation today.
Let me add something, Mr. Robinson.
Think about it too.
Let me add something, Mr. Robinson. How traumatizing it is to grow up, and in your community, you don't see it in the suburbs, but in your community, there's always police. You're always seeing somebody getting arrested. You're always seeing handcuffs put on somebody. You're always seeing somebody getting dragged to a car. You're always seeing somebody get walked out of a building. You're always seeing police run up in somebody's house. You're always seeing the police run up in your neighbor's apartment across the hall. That's traumatizing for a child, and it's never addressed. It's never addressed. That's supposed to be up to the parents who are being traumatized by the same situations, and then you're supposed to send that child to school with a clear mind and a full belly to go receive knowledge to be productive in life.
There's a good chance it can be some problems. I was that kid when I was young. I watched people get whooped all the time. I was a small kid. I got to the point where I got my first fight and whooped a couple people. I got excited. I'm 7, 8 years old. Violence was regular for me. You know, I really on some real, to be honest with y'all, since we're talking, I just became nonviolent a few years ago. I you know what I mean? I just look like this. I don't fuck around. You know what I mean? I'm real cool now. I got kids. I'm glad God put me with some kids in my life. But you can ask anybody where I'm from. You slap me, you in for a long, long day. And that just comes from growing up somewhere where that was regular for me. That's not normal.
And that's a good point there too, man, because like we are taught or like right away, be tough. You gotta know how to fight. You know, your dad's teaching you how to fight, your older brothers, uncles, whatever, they're teaching you how to fight because that's the neighborhoods we grew up in. Like I'm sure everybody probably on this call had a very close family member who was on drugs, and that's another type of trauma we had to have.
Or
so
alcoholism.
Like, there's trauma with somebody who grew up in drugs. There's trauma that, or alcohol, all the same. You know, it's all the same. And we had to be tough. As a guy, you can't be crying. And then, you know, as we grow up, it's like, what do we do with this frustration? What do we do with this anger and animosity? Like, you know, a lot of times growing up, I find myself going to places, I'm sizing people up who could probably be a relative. Like, I don't know this black dude, but I got to size them up because I have to, you know, and it's like, that's a whole nother level of trauma that you feel you got to have that same kind of toughness with things that you can't even fight. Like you can't.
As a woman, I can relate to that too, because it's not just like that for the men. Because women out here in these streets is not hoes. Like they are tough, they are competitive, and they will cut you. They will do all types of things. They'll fight you over a man. They'll do all type of stuff. And so it's like it's when I go into establishments, I find that I still follow the same rules that I learned. You sit in the back corner so you can see the door, you know, certain things like that. Like that's the same for women as well. So I can definitely relate to that. Yeah. It's not just men.
I want to ask y'all a question
that y'all mentioned as well. I wanted to touch on, you guys had said something about the article with Jay-Z and the miscarriage and stuff, man. Like, as far as miscarriages, like, my wife had a miscarriage before. And right away as a man, like, you know, the women, of course, women have to deal with it differently for sure. So right away as the man, you got to take care of your wife during that time. But some years went by and I started realizing like, man, I don't even know if I fully cried as much as I wanted to about that. You know what I'm saying? Like you let a couple tears out because like, yo, that's my child too. That's my child in the womb that didn't get to make it. Like that bothers and affects me too. And as men, like you don't even get, like as men, you don't get the opportunity to have that time to even like, you know what, I gotta cry this out. Right. Like that, and it took some years. I was like, damn, I'm supposed to have 5 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like damn, that shit, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I had that conversation with my husband as well, because me and him, our first baby was a miscarriage. And so we had to have a discussion, and I had to tell him, like, I know that this is hard for me because I had to go through the pain, but I just want you to know that I understand that this is a loss for you too. And I feel like as women, that's our job. To make our man feel comfortable with expressing his emotion to us. And we have to create a safe space to do that, which I feel a lot of women don't do.
True that. We have to create that safe space. And that's the thing too, is like, we have to be there with open arms. Like, I do not emasculate you or look at you as any less of a man just because you cried or because you felt an emotion. Jesus, what the you're human. Like, you have sadness, you have heartache, you have happiness, you have joy, you have pain, you have anger. It's okay. That's okay. It's okay. But like you said, we have to create that safe space.
And remind them that they're not by themselves. You know, like a lot of the things that they go through, us as women go through a lot of the same things. And so making sure they know that they're not alone in a lot of things that they go through, that the feelings that they're feeling. Like I'm a firm believer in self-care, and I'm a firm believer that any emotion like like Larry was saying, any emotion that you feel is warranted and there's a reason for it. So you have to explore your emotions so that you can heal from them and find out what they're trying to tell you. It might be intuition about somebody. It might be something that you need to pay attention to. I'm a firm believer of that. And so you have to evaluate your emotions. You have to take care of your emotions, and you have to make sure that you stay in tune to yourself, because that's the only way that you can truly find out who you are and learn how to stay true to yourself and stay grounded.
Girl, yes, you are preaching, goddess. Go ahead and tell them. I love it. Absolutely. We have to do that for we have to do that for each other. We have to be that for our friends sometimes too. You know what I mean? Like, and our brothers and sisters, like people who are just not necessarily we're in a close, intimate relationship, but you know, I've had people reach out to me before that I don't even know. You know what I mean? And they just vent to me. And like, I feel like I have to be there for them. Like they, for whatever reason, felt comfortable enough to speak to me about their situation. Like I have to be there for them. I have to welcome them with open arms and, you know what I mean? Give whatever type of, you know, whatever they need from me, I guess, you know, to a certain extent with my own boundaries in place, obviously. But you know, I think we have to do that for each other. Like sometimes it's hard to talk to people who are around you because you feel like they're going to judge you. And no one wants to be judged. And if you don't have that safe space with somebody who's close to you, sometimes it's easier to talk to somebody else. And that's where therapists come into play. Or, you know, sometimes melodyists, I guess, because I've become a therapist. I've been a therapist in like the Cubs, like line waiting to be checking out, like the checkout line at Walmart and shit. Like random people will just start telling me things and I'm just like, wow.
It's our aura, because that happens to me all the time. I don't know if it's because we're women, or if we just carry that aura, or if it's because we are nurturers, because you know that's something that's felt. So
I think it comes with the more comfortable you are with yourself, especially when some of your bases are covered. If your home life is straight, if you're happy with your level of accomplishment and the pace that you're at with your accomplishments in life, you feel like, for me, I do the same thing, but I feel obligated. It's part of like street code. It's part of like just me code, but each one teach one. You're supposed to pass down good energy. You're supposed to pass down knowledge. You're not supposed to keep that to yourself. Right. And if you can help somebody and it doesn't hurt you to do it,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of OG code. I mean, y'all are OGs. The men on this line, y'all are OGs. Y'all ain't young pups jumping off the porch. You know what it is. You know the temperature of the water out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know certain things and know how to carry yourself certain ways so that you can operate like how some people say they can't go to certain blocks, but you're in entertainment where you go to other people's states. Yeah. You go get a bag in somebody else's state because your mentals are straight. You're confident in who you are. You have nothing bad coming off of you. All you have is good. You know what I'm saying? I think there's some people, the same with addressing with mental health. I think some people are afraid of how they'll be viewed for being a nice person in public. They're gonna think I'm soft because I'm holding the door for this lady. You know what I'm saying? No, that's called couth. What we call it, being proper upbringing, good home training. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look the way I look, right? And I don't wear, I wear natural jewelry that has to do with like my chakras and my energy, right? Because like Mr. Robinson was saying, I've been nonviolent for maybe I don't know, I'm still teetering on the fence about that, you know, but actively responding with violence to anything that comes my way, it's been a while. But when I was younger, it wasn't fun for people, man. And I'm a Gemini, and I don't like, I know everybody like don't go on your zodiac or whatever else like that, but I'm petty. I got an elephant's memory. I'm petty, and I hold grudges forever. Forever. But it used to make me so. But it used to consume me so much when I was young that's all I would focus on. Oh, I gotta go. You know what? I'm around this way. I'm gonna pull up on so and so's crib, and you know, blah blah blah. But then I had to let that go because I was sitting in a hamster wheel. The only emotions I was really processing was the euphoria of getting away with what I said I wanted to do, the feeling of being relieved from the anger that was built until I took action, And then the anxiety after the fact, like, yo, they gonna tell on that, or, you know, they definitely gonna call the police on me for that. And
Well,
then like process that. Then
that's kind
process
of what
that
I wanted
and like
to add.
continue to do that.
That's kind of what I wanted to add is that, you know, how you made that change from being violent, just like CSJ. It wasn't necessarily because you had some mentor that sat you down and showed you this is just being older and learning life. You know what I mean? And you know, like we've been talking about, this whole thing about mental health, it's all generational. I mean, like everybody on here said they've grown up and told not to cry, to be tough, all of this and all of that. When you don't have a mentor to sit you down and say, this is what you do, or, you know, because you may look at somebody who is actually, somebody might look at y'all now and say, y'all soft, y'all don't want to rock, y'all, you know, y'all over the hill now because you don't do that anymore. Although you change just from being old, just from getting older, just from experience. You know what I mean?
All that though,
like,
even though I might not be out here being violent, I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Right. I'll tell you this much. My iron sight on a 223 with no scope, 300 meters. My shot group is a dime, 30 rounds solid.
See, now you want to be violent again. See?
No, I'm just saying. He
said he was on the fence, yo. He said he was still on the fence.
I will say that I think that as a parent, though, I think that we can help with that cycle. So that's where kids and having kids does benefit you, because you can break that cycle and you can turn it into something healthy. Just your wisdom from growing older and learning that there's better ways to do things. You could teach your kids that you're not weak by choosing to do things a certain way. And you can also teach them different strengths and how to be strong through certain situations and keep their composure so people don't fuck with them. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole nother thing to get fucked with in the streets.
Yeah, it is.
But that's like, you know, if a 20-year-old's mentality and a 40-year-old's mentality is totally different. Although a 20-year-old they have kids every day, just like 40-year-olds have kids every day. That'd be the difference between that upbringing. Again, if you don't have a mentor to sit you down when you're 20 years old, you just got to figure it out.
I
think that's also where our fathers are so important.
Exactly. I was gonna say this peep game, right? So everybody, like, I'm one of the smallest people in my group of people. Like, my brothers are ex-Marines, bodybuilders, all that. I'm not a little person, but my son, right, 8 years old, he's 5'1", 116 pounds, right? So he's a big kid. So I have to teach him about when he gets angry and he gets frustrated. He's young, but I taught him that we're big. Like, he understands that I'm a big person. All his uncles are big people. And I tell him we're big to protect, not to hurt people.
Yep.
We're not big to bully. We're big to protect people. You're big to protect your sister. You're big to protect your mother. You're big to protect me.
Yep.
Your cousins, your nephew, your cousins and all them. That's why you're big. God, or the energy that creates life, right, made you to be the size you are and as smart as you are so that you can protect and not hurt people. Now, if you have to hurt someone to protect someone you love, that's different, but you don't use your size to bully, son. And it's hard for him. It's hard for him because he's 8 and he's in elementary school, and kids are kids. So when he gets angry, he's a big kid. But when my kids shove somebody, they move. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not a little kid. They move, so it's extra dramatic because he's a big kid.
The advantage for him is that he has you. A lot of these kids don't have no you. You know what I mean? They just don't have somebody like you in their life. So, you know, he got to wait till he get 40 to figure it out. If he don't have somebody like you, I mean, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate. You know what I mean? Like,
that's facts.
If you don't have these mentors and people in your community that can tell you and show you these things that we all talking about as older people, you know what I mean? You just kind of out there figuring it out. It just all goes back to the whole point of this mental health. You know what I mean? Like, some people have the advantage of having a mentor or a father or somebody to show them the wisdom, and others just don't, or they got to figure it out on their own. You know what I mean? So there needs to be maybe more put in place in communities to be able to offer this kind of advice and help.
Yeah.
Now, see, I said this when I talk about the responsibility of MCs, and it's the responsibility of the older MCs. It's the responsibility of the people that are not just rapping, but have business established, that have their side hustles that are legit established. It's our responsibility to go in and talk to these youngins. Pull them up, pull them to the side. Don't disrespect them, you know what I'm saying? Definitely don't pack their pistol or nothing like that. Don't be contradictory in your past ways and tell them, you know, they got to get their bag, but tell them like there's something past that. You don't need to get 40 years old with a record. You don't need 3 successful probation periods by the time you're 40. You know what I'm saying? You can make that decision now because you're rocking. Your mind's there, the work ethic is there. Change the product. Instead of something illegal, make the product legal. Because a lot of these youngins consider selling narcotics as a hustle. No, you're a vending machine. There's no hustle in it. You give me this, you get that. That's not hustle. Hustle is going and finding it where ain't nobody else see it. That's being in the desert. When one person will just lay down and wait to die, somebody else will start building sandcastles and selling them bitches. We selling sandcastles. We gonna work. We gonna get through this. But it does take us. I said this in one of my rhymes. I said in one of my songs. I said the streets was my daddy, courts was my mama, and there was no apologies for the way the game backed me in the corners. You know what I'm saying? It was an interpretation that when I was younger, I was out there. But then, so like the street taught me how to be tough. The street taught me how to go find food. The street taught me how to go get a bag. But then the court was my rationale. The court was what nurtured me. Instead of sending me to like DOC, the courts would send me to like a juvenile facility. So the court, you know what I mean? We don't want to mess up your education, but you fucked up. But like I said, that cycle had to stop for me. I had to get tired of that shit.
Again,
some of these youngins, they find it as rites of passage to get locked up.
Right, but again, I'm playing devil's advocate. If when they're out in the street, a 20-year-old, and they see you talking what you talking, and they see the same gangsters that you said that you came up with, you know what I'm saying? What's more appealing to a 20-year-old? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do.
The past me would be more appealing to them.
That's where I think it's really, really beneficial for artists to start speaking up about these different topics as well, because we are influencing them and they actually listen to what a lot of these artists are saying. So instead of these goofy artists speaking up on shit they shouldn't even be touching, some real people who have their mental wits about them need to be speaking up on these topics. I know there's very few Black motivational speakers. I've been researching that as a topic. There's a lot of Black women who go out and they seek to give healing to their Black brothers and sisters, but there's not that many men, and I feel like that's definitely a space where it can be filled. More Black men being able to mentor on a larger platform and using that voice and the things that they've been through to mentor and speak into our young men, who at this point they would listen. I think at this point a lot of them are looking for somebody to relate to.
I really I'm digging all of that, and I've made some very violent street gutter music. I like my music ignorant. I like it hard. I might not move like that anymore. That's how I like my music. I've made a lot of that music. Over the last year or so, things have changed for a few reasons. We've grown. We've gotten a lot of love about, and this ain't about it. We've gotten a lot of love, people saying that, you know, we've grown and we love your growth, and it's up to us. Yogi was saying, while I was still trying to get connected with the call, I was listening to what he was saying, and he was saying, look, like you said, SongBird, these people in better positions, these people, the leaders, the people who, the LeBrons, the Jay-Z's, these people have to change their rhetoric. They have to say, listen, this is what it is. And as far as those people below them, the entertainers, the leaders, the heroes, we've got to look the part first. With these young kids, you could be telling them anything. You could be telling them the sky is blue, green, purple, whatever. If you ain't looking like you're getting your bag, and like you said, you don't have any wits about yourself, you're not carrying yourself like you got no sense, they not going to listen, man. They got a better chance of listening right now with everything going on with the BLM and the COVID. We're in crazy times right now. But real stuff. it's our responsibility. We are older. We do know better. We do have some wits about ourselves. We have to continue to carry ourselves, and we got to do it. We can talk about it till we blue in the face. Our latest project, a couple projects, we've just been trying to make sure we put something in there to show you that, listen, man, just because we talk some of this wild shit, this is who we really are. We come from that. You know, we perform songs, but when we were still doing shows before all the COVID hit, we performed songs that we hadn't performed, that we wrote 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I'd feel some kind of way about performing that song sometimes. Bro can tell you, because I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like I'm gonna go get the yapper and give you the smoke over some bullshit no more. That's not who I am. So we gotta step it up, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. This is another good topic, because the mental health of our youth and the community relies on what LeBron says, relies on how Jay-Z plays this situation. That's why it's crazy. You would think that other people would have, that their voice would be stronger, but nah. It's what the hottest basketball player is talking about. It's what the hottest rapper is talking about. Whatever he's talking about, that's what the kids rocking with.
And like what you just said, Mr. Robinson, I have a track that I made probably about 4 or 5 years ago with Mossberg Duck from out of Martinsburg. And it was
a hard ass name.
Mossberg Duck. You don't know who Duck is? PRG.
Mossberg Duck sound like he'll do something to somebody.
Yeah, he is goon. He's a general Piranha Gang out of Martinsburg, and Piranha Gang is his entertainment label. So, but
they sound dangerous as shit.
Yeah, we made this song together, and it's very violent. And like you said, somebody had called me to perform, and they were like, "Yo, can you do that one joint with you and Duck?" And I'm like, I just got the recording City of Angels, Resurrection of the Kings, and like, I know better. I don't think it's a good look for me to go up on stage. That doesn't fit my set right now. You know what I'm saying? Like my show set, I don't think that's gonna be good. You know what I'm talking about? Because like in that joint, we talk about.
It pisses me off, Yogi, because it's art at the end of the day. It's just fucked up that these kids are so misguided. Their parents aren't telling them what's really up. It's really not a lot different than watching a crazy action movie or some other crazy shit. It's just entertainment. It's people saying things over a beat. It shouldn't be taken so seriously. Since we know that it is, we have to carry it accordingly. But what I wanted to make, sorry to cut you off, is it sucks that you just can't entertain. It sucks.
See, like what you were saying and what Mr. Valentine was saying, I was fortunate that I grew up, like, father figure, not so much. I grew up with a stepdad, crazy abusive. You know what I'm saying? Like, just real. It's crazy abusive. Like, the shit we talk about, like, give you something to cry about, all that. You know, I grew up, you know, early 80s. So it was, you know, but I was blessed with being, like, I came up in like the 80s gang structure. So, like, there was always OGs around me. Like, we weren't allowed to carry guns. We weren't allowed to use a knife or a chain or a bat. If you had a problem with somebody and an OG or somebody older than you saw you going for a knife, they smack it out your hand, bring you to the rec center, and you and the other person got to square up and shoot one. We weren't allowed. We were taught to take L's. We were taught to build off of the things that you go through. Like, for me nowadays, like, just being old, somebody talk a whole bunch of gangster shit to me, I look at two things. I look at their face and their hands. If you ain't got scars on either one, ain't nobody win every one. Ain't nobody win every one. Ain't nobody, but to me, it taught me to accept losses. It taught me to fight. Like, if somebody beats my ass, we didn't go grab the chopper. You fought him again. You fought him until they got tired of fighting. And then you got in trouble when you went home and all that. Now these youngins can't take an L. But they swear they want to blow up and be millionaires in entertainment. You have to know how to take an L with pride. Stand on that and say the reason why. You got to look at the reason why you took an L. But these youngins nowadays, they don't go through the same processes. I was privileged to have OGs that would pull me to the side and talk about me. Why are you skipping school? I grew up at a time where the OGs would pull me to the side and be like, look, we got enough gangsters in prison. We need some more gangsters that are in political positions. We need some more gangsters that are community leaders. We need some more gangsters in corporate positions. We know this is too easy to recruit a young gangster to hold a chopper and hold a block down. But if that's how you want to represent your brotherhood, if that's how you want to represent your organization, that's fine, but not in this unit. So I was taught that education was important. And these are my street guys. These are the guys when I was like 13, 14, 15, they were like in their early 30s, and they made sure you had to go to school. You had to get good grades. You had to put in your work too. Because if this is what you choose, know the responsibility that comes with it and take your L's. Like, I came up in a time where people carry burners, but we would still shoot a fair one. You take your burner off, drop your magazine, pop the one out the chamber, put it down, and y'all would shoot a fair one. That don't happen nowadays. I think that's a lot to do with the mental health part. Like how we grew up, that wasn't being tough. That was breeding us to be men in an urban environment. That you're gonna lose sometimes. You're gonna get scarred sometimes on this path. But as long as you have the fortitude to stand your ass back up and go back at it, that's your heart. That's something when I was younger that was more important than money, that was more important than selling dope, was how you were built, your heart, what you stood for and how strong you stood for it. And now at my age and everything I do now, I think it's one of the most important foundations of success when you're coming out of an urban environment. We're grabbing bags where people say it's desolate, where they say there's nothing there. We're grabbing bags out of the urban environment. We're building empires in our urban environments. We're influencing the youth. We're influencing other nationalities of people's kids. They listen to your music. They daddy and mama make no music. They listen to your music. When they see you at the Walmart or at the Target or at the Wawa or at the gas station, they lose their mind because they saw you. They don't lose their mind when they dad walk in the door from work. The power of entertainment, the power of influence, it's been some of the things that have guided the way that we're built as individuals. All of us on this call, the way that we were brought up guided us to be who we are. Like you said, at some point in time, as you get older, basically, it's not that you don't still got it in you. You understand how much time that takes away from your bottom line. I mean, like we talked about, it used to be a rite of passage for youngins to get locked up. I remember cliques that didn't let anybody in their clique unless you got locked up before. Because they believed that if you were never locked up, then you ain't a man of your word. Because if you say you'll smack the shit out of anybody that disrespects you, at some point in time, you're going to get locked up. They're going to take you to the jail and release you or something. You ain't just going around being that. You ain't just going around Billy blanking motherfuckers and ain't nobody going to put no cuffs on you.
I vote.
But for me, I'm like, all right, I don't need to change my circle. I call it a flock. You know, that birds of a feather. Your flock, your pride as kings. You don't have to change your circle. You don't have to do what your friends do. I'm one of the only people in my friends group, my 20+ year riders, that does entertainment in any way, shape, or form, but they're all successful in their own aspects of life. We changed our conversation amongst each other. We motivate each other. We motivate each other's kids. We're the guys that work as coaches. We were the same ones that were out on the block, but we got hip to what we were doing. We got hip that we can influence people. We got hip that people like us. We're popular. So do something good with it instead of continuing something that's going to keep us getting locked up. I don't know how many bail bonds. We got one bail bonds, and I swear to God, my clique put like 3 of his kids through college. You got to get rid of that shit. If you can destroy together, imagine what you can fucking build together.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's us. That's on us. That's on us as the OGs. It's on us as the OGs to start doing that shit instead of just promoting shows that we got going. Instead of just marketing your singles that are coming out. Market shit that I'm telling you. I've said this shit to artists that are just starting off. Do shit in your community. Do book bag drives. Go to Five Below, get 20 book bags. You get 5 artists to spend $100 a piece, right? You can get book bag, all the shit to stuff into it. Put some hot dogs on the grill, some hamburgers on the grill, some bottled water, and just tell people to come and take care of your community. Your community will take care of you, especially as MCs, because you're asking them for money. But what are you giving them back? The music gives them hope, it gives them enlightenment, it gives them a way to release from where they live, but what are you actually giving back to your community that won't hurt you? It doesn't hurt to do that, and I'm telling you, small things like that go so far in your community. That's where the people that live around you be like, yo, I support what they do because I see what they do with it. But that also opens up the opportunity to sit down and talk to these youngins that want to be like you. Y'all popping, they're not. So they want to talk to people like you because they want to know, who do you talk to? What kind of conversations do you have? When did you first start really getting focused on this shit where it started moving? Where I remember when you first put out your first mixtape type shit. Those conversations are the same conversations where we talk about mental health. When you ask the little homies, "Are you straight? Come here, man, let me holler at you real quick, man. I'm gonna see you out here, man. You got your face all long, shoulders something down. Put your shoulders back, man. Put your chin up real quick. What's going on, King?" We got to do that. Otherwise, we're going to drive around our cities. We're going to see these youngins. We're going to be shaking our head, disappointed. But we have to take responsibility and park the car, get out and talk to them. That's dangerous because some of these youngins are crazy as shit. Their mental health is so warped. They have so much PTSD, so much trauma in them that they're trigger happy. Some of these youngins grew up and never left the city they were born in, but have more trauma than a combat veteran. Can't sleep. Always got a hand on the trigger. I know y'all been around some 13, 14-year-olds that they'll do damage, young. And that's bad. But I think it's up to the people of influence. I think it's up to the people that know better that each one teach one needs to come back. We need more people that are in the communities to be community leaders. We need more people that look like the youth, that have had some of the same aspirations as the youth, to sit down and speak with them, pull them to the side, man. I don't know. My name's Larry, and I talk a lot.
Oh, that's true, though. We do have to. Each one teach one is major, man. You know, it's all in how it's received, though. You know, it's not what you say; it's how you say it. So sometimes, you know, we have to be careful and cautious on how we approach certain situations. You know what I mean? Especially if it's somebody that you don't know. You know what I mean? It's easier to, like, the village. Easier to like talk to people who are kids who are around you or who know you, you know what I mean? And we know their personality and things like that. But if you don't have kids like that around you that you can help, and you see like people that you can help, you just got to find a way to connect with them without being abrasive and without being intrusive and, you know,
the Queen was speaking about Black motivational speakers. I said the Queen earlier was talking about
words. You know, so we gotta make sure, you know, like what one thing I love that all of us is doing is being positive. And we gotta remember that, you know, our actions are gonna go way further than our words ever can. So we gotta make sure we you know, we're all doing a great job, it seems, that putting different things, like even you know, you guys are saying how you guys have all grown in your music and how you guys have changed in your music. That's actionable more than your words. You know, your actions are changing y'all's words, actually. So it's all about, you know, that goes a lot further than what we say.
I agree.
So, hey, Melody, I know we ran over time, and I have to apologize to my artist if it's gorgeous. I did submit music, but we just got into this conversation. These conversations have been rolling. I love the spirit of my kings out here talking to me, and the queens on the line as well. So music didn't get played, but it was submitted. It's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it gets put.
It is.
Put in post, but definitely, yeah. No, I want to roll into the next topic because I think that this topic rolls into the next topic really well, and that's Davar's topic of what ways do you think that film can change the dynamic of today's society? Because what we were just talking about is influencers and how people who are of influence help curve society. So that rolls right into your topic. Davar, go ahead and bring us in and what you're thinking about when you talked about this.
It's only up with me. I get that bag and let it air it up. It's on my trail, but I'm too busy to get passed up. Ride behind this tent, I'm burning gas by my lonely. I prefer it be that way, cause I can't fuck around with phonies. I'm a G. Me lurking, I keep a peace. Stay my distance from these niggas hating, trying to compete. I left some in my rear view. Ain't it a shame my people changed, be the one close to you? I held a lot of people down, even gave them my last. But no one did the same for me, I was down on my ass. Looked over and laughed at, but stayed strong through it all. Now look how I'm shaking back, I know I'm a fucking dog. I'm on another level. whatever. You not invited on this wave. You ain't keep it TRU, keep it stepping the other way. You can't respect it, then come check it. Watch I show you it today. If I said it, then I meant it. Keep it real, no other way.
I'm acting funny with it. If it ain't about $1, I ain't fucking with you. I was down bad, you wasn't fucking with me, suckers. Some try to ride the wave. You want a verse, you gotta pay, and I ain't with all of that brother shit, that gutter shit. Shout out them niggas I was bustin' with. Most of y'all was the niggas we was coming sick, thuggin' shit. Yeah, y'all was scared when we was up and shit. Just signed a deal with Gorgeous, now my price is going up and shit. Real, in the streets I was all in. Good and in the hood, y'all still gotta call in. Remember they was up and I was still having problems. I sat back with that gang and sent Frank Nitty to go rob them. Pack shit, stack shit, we was on that jack shit. Now I'm getting rap money, I can get you whack with it. Y'all niggas been on, still fat. I'm 300 pounds strong and only with bad. No cap, y'all niggas ain't fucking with me. Now you need a bag just to have a little discussion with me. Remember I was broke and them used to laugh at me like my hope. The way them throw that bag at me. Fucking with Lil Wookie forever, he kept it stacked with me. Shout out to my nigga Rob, used to split them stacks with me. When it's time to go, you ain't never gotta ask. Now you want a verse, you gotta pay because I'm that. I'm acting funny with it. If it ain't about $1, I ain't fucking with you. I was down bad, you wasn't fucking with me, suckers. Some try to ride the wave. You want a verse, you gotta pay, and I ain't with all of that brother shit, that gutter shit. Shout out them niggas I was bustin' with. Most of y'all was the niggas we was coming sick, thuggin' shit. Yeah, y'all was scared when we was up and shit. Just signed a deal with Gorgeous, now my price is going up. I'm acting funny with it. If it ain't about $1, I ain't with you. I was down bad, you wasn't with me, suckers. Some try to ride the wave. You want a verse, you gotta pay, and I ain't with all of that brother shit, that gutter shit. Shout out them niggas I was bustin' with. Most of y'all was the niggas we was coming sick, thuggin' shit. Yeah, y'all was scared when we was up and shit. Just signed a deal with Gorgeous, now my price is going up and shit.
I don't know why they wanna see me fail. No hammer bank account on Kurt Burrell. You calling people broke, but you poor as hell. Can't charge you for nothing. Oh, Duracell. Bomb first since Pac been dead. Still coming up with lint like Rakim said. They don't wanna see me popping, Diddy bopping through the tropics. Mobbing with my partners in the new designer boxers. Hey yo, you running game, wasting smoke with them street dudes. I'm sipping Henny, cracking jokes in my beach shoes. Smile in my face. All the while the fakes and snakes wanna take my place. On this paper chase, we gon' make some mistakes. Try and steal home plate, fuck playing it safe. Used to scramble and scrape, razor blade to plate. Now my track's amazing grace, like my name was Mace, yo. They wanna see me in a bad place. They don't wanna see you in a good spot. They wanna see me in a bad place. Pockets here talking shit with the sad face. They don't wanna see you in a good spot. They wanna see me in a bad place. They don't wanna see you in a good spot. Riding clean with bad bitches blowing good.
Listen, they don't wanna see me in a good spot. They rather see me fucked up in the hood spot. Rhymes and beats find me surrounded by MCs, breaking down these trees like a wood chop. Me and my bro wanna go for the chips. Steady flow, explosive shit, ferocious spit. But these wave riding haters wanna slow the shit. Fly in my IV, watch me slow my drip. Listen, I'm a love shower, you a shade thrower. We don't rep the same culture, bro, them days over. Basically, you a modern day vulture. Pull the toasty from Hosa, yo, and basically smoke ya. Nah, I kill that negativity energy. If I ain't feeling you, essentially you a memory. And we just trying to elevate the dub. Yo, I'm straight on the hay, cuz let's celebrate the love.
They wanna see me in a bad place. They don't wanna see you in a good spot. They wanna see me in a bad place. Pockets here talking shit with the sad face. They don't wanna see you in a good spot. They wanna see me in a bad place. They don't wanna see you in a good spot. Riding clean with bad bitches blowing good pot.
So one of the one quote that I had got from a film producer wasn't really popular film. I really wasn't heavy on the film, which is the All Eyes on Me, but L.T. Hutton, he was the producer of that movie. And one quote that he said is, perception is reality. And the biggest definition of perception is visual. And he who controls the perception or controls the visual, they can control the perception. So if they can control the visual, meaning Hollywood, if they can control the visual and the perception, they can always turn a kid with iced tea and Skittles into a thug or a gangster if they're the ones controlling the narrative. And that's a big reason why I am a filmmaker, is because I want to change that course. I want to shift the paradigm to what our kids do see and bring awareness to things that that need change. Melody, you can kind of be attest to that. Like all of my films, even though they're all different, none of them are the same, but they all have some kind of an awareness in them. And that's my reason why I'm doing film. So I wanted to get you guys' perspectives as well. As how do you guys feel like, with today's society and everything that's going on, how do you feel that film can change what we see today in our society?
I'll let the other kings go first.
Well, first of all, I will say that I definitely can attest to the fact that everything that I've ever wrote. Can I English today? Okay, maybe not. Okay, anything I've ever read that has always been impactful. Like, for example, okay, the movie that I was in, shameless plug, it's called Shame. You can find it on Amazon Prime. I'm just saying.
Oh, hey, throw that out there.
I see what's going on here.
Anyway, definitely, that movie just alone, in and of itself, had so many dynamics. And yet you found a way to also make it comical, which is really cool because you brought some very important things that needed to be said. You brought forth some very great ideas. You opened up people's eyes for some compassion, and you did it while making people laugh. Like, you're amazing. So I just wanted to say that is you were doing exactly what you need to do, I think, as a filmmaker, and that's opening people to different perspectives and making it enjoyable at the same time. Because anyone can watch that.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's a big difference in between a black film writer and producer than a white or any other race. I think it's more important, especially in these times, that we have people that can depict situations and environments and the culture from a one-off perspective inside the fishbowl instead of outside the fishbowl. Outside the fishbowl is usually perspective. Someone that can film and create inside of that fishbowl, it's just like, okay, it's just like white Jesus. Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you would never see that from a different racial,
right.
Producer, director,
Right. It's just like, okay, for instance, let's go, we're talking about film. Let's talk about when all those movies in like the late 60s, early 70s about Egypt and Cleopatra, all white people. It made black kids think that Egypt was in Europe. They didn't know Egypt was in Africa. They didn't know that because that's not what they were shown. They were shown that these beautiful white people are the same gods and goddesses that come from your bloodline. It's okay. If we go into film in that way, we talk about how the reason why a black cat crossing your path is bad luck, because Shiva, the cat that guards the tombs and the pyramid. Come on, man. Something positive gets turned negative. But like what you said, perception is reality. So if kids I grew up watching the Cleopatras. I remember my grandma was watching. I had to watch the soaps and Casey and all that other shit too. But when I would watch that, it did confuse me. It confused me why. How come everybody that's in charge or everybody that's popular doesn't look like me? But organically where I live, there were successful people that looked like me around me. But I never saw anything about them, even in television.
Look, man, I grew up on Kane from Menace to Society. You know, I grew up on Kane over Barney. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching Menace to Society. I'm watching
I'm talking about
the Hood, South Central.
South Central.
You know what I'm saying? That was like the ones I grew up on. It's like, man, that was the reality for me because of the place, you know, growing up. Around me, that's what they watching. And even today's time, man, like, you know, even though those movies, when I was young, I couldn't catch the message. I shouldn't have even been watching that movie as a kid. So the message always missed me in the first place. And that's why today, you know, what I'm trying to do today is just a little different from what I grew up watching. You know, is there going to be some Menace to Society movies or something like that? For me, possibly. But, you know, just watching and seeing how today's times is now, I'm just curious to see what way we can make it all different, what way we can make it all better, you know.
I think it's just like we were talking about the music earlier. You know what I mean? You got to have a balance. You know what I mean? You can provide that balance that you know, although, you know, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, you know, they had a message in them, but, you know, it was kind of, it seemed like the message was just a small part of the movie. You know what I mean? Most of it was the story. That's the entertaining part of it. You know, just make the positive messages more of the actual real, you know, skeleton and muscle of the movie as opposed to just a small little part of it. You know what I mean? It's just that balance, you know, to be able to have something that you can put up next to a Menace to Society or whatever and say, you know, you got this and you got this. You know what I mean? Just balance it. Give choice, give options. You know what I mean?
Davar, can I ask you, who inspired you to start writing and wanting to go into film and creating film?
And honestly, all the movies I said, man, grew up watching. The 90s era for Black cinema was
the John Singleton era.
John Singleton, F. Gary Gray, all those guys, man. But that inspired me to want to be an actor. And then as I grew and got older, I started realizing like there's movies that I can write myself that I can act in. Even though I ain't even started getting into acting yet, I am going to start co-starring with Miss Melody Waters over here. But you know, I'm gonna just start getting it in, man. And one thing that started pushing me is just, you know, wanting to get into acting and wanting to see myself in the kind of movies that I wanted to be in, basically, which was more than just your Menace to Societies and stuff, man.
Well, let me ask you this too. Out here where Mr. Valentine and Mr. Robinson are, like this area of the country is a little bit different. Like it's the Mason-Dixon area of the country. Even though like it doesn't seem like out here, it doesn't seem like the Mason-Dixon line goes up and down. It seems like it goes like in a square. You know, there's certain parts that people are cool. There's certain parts you just don't drive through. I'm being dead ass honest. But when it comes to everything that's happened in Minneapolis, and it comes to you being a young Black entrepreneur, how has everything that like kicked off in Minneapolis affected you, your business, and the people in your community?
So for me, it's a little different probably from somebody else because I already made a movie addressing police brutality before all this happened. And it's a short film. It's only 5 minutes, man. I'll send it to all you guys if you want to check it out. But what my movie did is kind of show a lot of different perspectives on how Black people of color feel when they approach police, and that it's not us or our actions that make our outcomes the way they are, but it's the actions of the police. So when all this stuff happened, man, I kind of didn't want to touch it. You know, I didn't want nobody thinking I'm trying to capitalize off the situation since I already have this movie out. I sort of try to push it, but not really. I kind of pushed it more to police stations, to be honest. Like, look, this is how we feel. This is how y'all make us feel. And I had a lot of other police stations share it and start watching it, possibly for some training videos or something. Like, look, this is how you guys are making people of color feel in our communities all around America, all around the world at this point. And so I didn't really touch it, and I try not to get so swayed on what goes on in the community so quickly. I try not to like jump right in with everything because the times are always going to change. Right now, we're definitely with this COVID stuff going on. Like with you guys with music, if something happens, you can record it and you can put it out. With movies, it's like you got to write it, you got to produce it, you got to pre-produce it, then produce it, then post-produce it. So by the time that even comes out, you might have missed your mark. So I try not to like really get so swayed up on everything that happens unless it's a continuous thing that's affecting me and I can't get away from it. That's when I'm like, I need to put this out because this is how I feel right now today, and ain't nothing happening different. So as far as
how has it affected you as a resident of that state with everything like jumping off? There's a lot of attention there with everything that has previously happened on top of all the other cases. But like you as a Black man walking around in that state, like has the atmosphere changed for you?
Yeah,
since,
absolutely.
Like, everything jumped on.
Absolutely. So like, of course, with the police, like that ain't changed nothing. Like you already said, you know, police roll past, you looking in your rear view to see if they doing a U-turn. So as far as the police go, that ain't changed nothing. But it's one thing that does make me a little bit more weary is the amount of white supremacy that came to the state to fight our peaceful protests. And one thing that stuck in my mind is that if they all came here, I'm sure they ain't all leave. So I'm sure there's little sectors and stuff that's been set up and during that process that people have, like, just as much as there is a new base of, you know, maybe Black Lives Matter or just Black uprising or whatever, there's little more sectors of that. There's going to be more sectors of white power as well and white supremacy as well. So I'm watching my steps and watching my moves as well because I live on the suburb of Minneapolis, and this is the areas a little bit further out past here that's where they was kind of being at. So that changed my movements a little bit more. Just making sure I'm more mindful of, you know, shit. I've been checking white people a lot more. It's like, yo, you got a pickup truck. I'm watching you a little differently. You know, you got American flags, Confederate flags. I'm watching you differently, just because.
I feel like right now in Minneapolis,
like this around places and watching people how they react to Pan-African American flags opposed to American flags, you know, and that's kind of how I've been approaching it.
I feel like right now in Minneapolis, because I also stay in a suburb really close to the city, and I feel like right now it's becoming a lot more apparent who's who. People are kind of giving themselves away at this point where they stand, and it's on one end it's unnerving, and on the other end it's refreshing because you do get to see the people who really do support us being treated as equals and do support us being able to get the justice that we deserve. And then you also have the other end of people who are still playing the Minnesota nice card, still kind of being undercover with their racism and with their hatred. But it's a lot harder for them to hide at this point, is what I've noticed. They're not really able to just brush it off, whereas they were able to do that before. Now they're not really able to because there's too many indicators at this point, especially here.
It's like something I wanted to mention about, like, just from an outsider, when I went into Minneapolis and St. Paul, something I noticed was like a lot of churches, like very religious, a lot of churches, the hospitals are from the church, you know, all that. So like, does that make you guys feel like better? Or is it like you guys are saying like, oh, that's just the way it looked?
About the church?
The church doesn't, I don't know, because from what
I was there, I saw a lot of churches.
From what I can see here in Minneapolis, the churches are not as prevalent as they should be in our communities. And I don't think that the church has been in their rightful place as you know, God's people stepping up and pushing for righteousness as far as on our justice, as far as in our community, or in support of a lot of the stuff that's going on. A lot of what has been coming to the forefront as far as people helping has been the community. It hasn't been the places where, you know, we really should expect them, like the church.
I feel like too, there are a whole bunch of churches, man, but they're so much into their own thing. You know what I'm saying? You like, if you probably step in every single church, they might even be preaching the same message about how you should be approaching the situation. But as far as all of them coming together and standing up, I think that's where they're missing the mark at, because all of them aren't coming together as one as they should to stand up and do anything. You know, as far as any church, we shouldn't even, not even just the churches, you know what I'm saying, Muslim ass people, you know, all religions that something like that that's this big should all be coming together, man. So it's more so of a community thing than it is a church thing up here for right now, for sure. I can say that.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Valentine, where you guys are at in West Virginia, with all the things that have been happening with, like, and you guys are very close to DC. Some people don't understand when you live that as close as you guys do to DC, the things that people see from other states and different regions, they don't understand that they already implement the laws and the police start working the laws before they even tell everybody that they're going to do all this shit. But like I was talking about earlier, like, you guys live in a state where it's very different to be confrontational in West Virginia than it is in some other states. But how's it been for you guys? What's the atmosphere been like since all this stuff's been popping off?
Everything's been pretty much the same. This business as usual around here. Nobody's really. We've had some protests. They were peaceful. It's really not been a whole lot of action. Like SongBird said, you can see a few things just because it's out in the open now. I say it all the time. 2020 made a few things clear. But to answer your question for real, I haven't seen much. But you asking somebody who doesn't do anything anymore but work, grind, take care of kids. I feel like I need a maid. I'm tired of cleaning the fucking house. All I do is clean. This shit is over fucking rated. But no, to answer your question, brother, nothing's really changed here that I can see. But I don't go out much anymore.
I mean, it seemed to make people just a little more aware of, I mean, how could you not be aware if you're not under a rock? You know what I mean? It's everywhere. It's, you know, if you turn on the TV, turn on the radio, you look on any kind of social media, you know what I mean? It's taking over everything, as, you know, as it rightfully should. But, you know, like he said, it's just made people more aware as far as any kind of major changes or anything like that. No, that could be in the work, you know what I mean? But like SongBird said, it's, you know, it's kind of drawing the line of, you know, who supports you and who doesn't. A lot of people are a lot of people coming out the woodwork. A lot of people are exposing themselves and not even meaning to, you know what I mean? So on that aspect of it, it's just made things a little more clear as far as where you stand on kind of like race relations and things like that. But as far as a major change in the area, nah, I mean, I personally haven't noticed it, but like he said, you know, I stay to myself. I got my kids, I got my job, I got my music. I mean, I don't have enough time in my day to deal with all of that the way I want to. So to go looking for anything else is, I just don't have a lot of time for it. So, you know.
Facts machine.
Yeah. I have noticed a little bit of difference on social media. I do have some friends. You know, I played sports for a long time. People I went to school with, I went to a predominantly white school. I have seen some stuff online because, as we know now, social media, people they give you everything from what kind of socks they have on today to what they ate yesterday to how they feel about race relations. So, you know, there has been a change in, you know, like we said, we can see things clearer, and it's because of the posts people make or the way that they handle certain situations. Your view on a certain situation says a lot about you. You know, if you don't think it's super cruel and crazy for a man to die begging for his mom with a knee on his fucking neck for 8 minutes, then we know what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? But that's about the only change I've seen is on social media. I've seen some people, you know, come out the woodworks with some real bullshit, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know. So if there's any major change that I can notice, you know, I'm not in the streets, I'm not out running around, but I have noticed on social media a few people who I didn't know felt that way about things. They came out, you know.
Guys, so I actually have to get going, but I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. This conversation has been so good for me. I'm really happy to hear, you know, Black Kings of your caliber, you know, speaking up about these different issues. And if any of you guys or anyone listening wants to follow me, I am on all social media platforms, including TikTok. I have Instagram at SongBird Self-Care. My TikTok is at SongBird Self-Care. You can find me on Facebook under SongBird is my music page, or SongBird Raps is my business page. And then Deborah Chantel Doty is my full government, because Facebook did that to me. And then I do have YouTube, but I am not going to go about spelling that out for you guys. So I am just going to depend on Melody to drop the link in the description box when everything gets uploaded. Thank you guys so much for having me be thank you, Melody, for having me be the one woman show on here. And I really thank you guys so much. We had a really great productive conversation. I appreciate you guys so much.
Mr. Songbird, before you go, we've got artists here. We've got a visual guy here. I say we put together a song. And I say we have my man Davar put together some kind of visual. Let's make something out of this. We all got
I agree.
On things. Let's make something shake.
I'm for it. I'm for it for sure. Definitely.
I got just the videographer for you too.
Ooh, bam.
Sounds great. I'm down. Thank you guys. See you guys later.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Queen.
It's so funny because it does seem like I have always had one woman on the show, and I don't know how that works out every time that I just happen to have one woman, but I'm really grateful that I have one woman to balance everything out. Otherwise, I'd be here in the sharks by myself. You feel me?
Yep, definitely.
We ain't no sharks. We ain't no sharks, Queen. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
You too.
You too, Queen. Stay up, stay blessed, stay motivated, Queen.
Thank you.
No, you're not seriously sharks. It was just
If you start playing that Shark to Do song, I swear to God, yeah.
It is. Yo, before I let everybody go though, I do want to talk about the last subject that we have, and that is best birthday experiences. So I want everybody to give their best birthday experience and your social media information and anything else that you'd like to give, any shout outs or anything. Any little
Look, my best birthday experience, I was 10. So one thing my dad did for my older brother, when he turned 10, he picked all the friends up in the limo and then brought them over to the house. So when I was 10, I'm like, whoo, can't wait for my limo, you know? So we picked everybody up in the limo, and then instead of us coming back to my house, my dad took everybody to a limo to a hotel. I had a little hotel surprise birthday party when I was 10. That had to be the best one altogether, man.
Yo, that sounds dope. That's
baller shit.
What's your social media information and where can people find you at, Davar?
Y'all can find me Davar McGee on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can follow Big Var Productions on Facebook. I don't even know if I got. I'm slipping. I ain't even got it on Instagram. You can also follow the Cuffed Up. That's a TV show I'm doing now. Melody is hosting. Cuffed Up is a dating show, and it's going to hopefully be pushing that everywhere soon, very soon. So that's where y'all can find me.
I like the title.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, that show's a lot of fun. We actually filmed. We actually filmed an episode. It was a good time.
Man, it was hilarious.
Like, I don't like being cuffed up, but I can see how the wordplay goes with the dating show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all another. That could be any meaning these days.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, that's what's up. Davar, did you have any shout outs you wanted to give or anything like that? Any last note?
Yo, give a shout out to Melody for having me on the show. I want to give a shout out to my guy Dennis Harmon. He also got another film he got coming out soon. This or that, and we writing another one as well. Give a shout out to my guy Terry Vincent. I think he's about to be on the show soon. He does music as well. He's a co-producer. He's been making shirts and apparel. Give a shout out to my brother as well. Meech does music as well. He, another TV show we about to have cracking soon. So yeah, give a shout out to my three brothers right there.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Who wants to share their birthday experience? Who's got a birthday experience?
Since it's my birthday, I'll go next. This was my topic.
Hey, it's your Earth Day.
My birthday will be midnight. We're gonna have us a little fun, but I'm working in the morning. I need that money. I ain't playing around. But we'll turn it a little bit after work too. I was gonna take a trip or something. I said we're gonna chill out and get some money. I need to save all this bread. But actually, I'm gonna flip it on you. It's not my best birthday experience. It's actually my worst one. It's pretty fun. We were in Huntington, West Virginia. I had won a battle a few weeks before they were having these battles. So I had won the last battle, so I was coming back for some revenge to defend my crown. So I'm feeling good. The battle's on my birthday. We had a cookout. I got fucked up. I'm pissy drunk at the battle. I can't remember anything. I'm looking crazy. I lost in the first round, man. All my people there to watch me and everything. I got dusted off early by somebody that wasn't even that nice. It was super embarrassing. Yeah.
Oh dear! You let your what?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Nervous or what? You let your nerves get to you?
I was wasted. Now when we do shows, I don't drink like that. I gotta stay on top of my game.
It was your birthday, or you were?
You know, it was my birthday. I didn't want to get too drunk. I knew I had a battle that night. But it's like, come on, have a shot. It's your birthday. Come on, have a shot. It's your birthday.
You got focus, especially when you're battling. I
don't mess around no more.
Period. Yo, okay, give your social media information, and if you have any kind of shout outs or last notes you want to give too.
DuckCityMusic on all social media outlets. We have a single that came out a couple days ago. It'll be on all formats tomorrow. Right now it's just on Bandcamp. It's CHJ of DuckCityMusic, one half of DuckCityMusic, regular spelling, nothing fancy. Want to give a big shout out to everybody who's doing these platforms for people like us to stay relevant and stay in people's faces and people to check us out. We meet new artists, we're getting new fans, we're selling merch, everything's good. So I want to give a big shout out to IAmMelodyWaters. I met her through Emilio Egbar, my man Edgar Price. Shout out to the Nonstop Radio Show. And last but not least, my man Kawan Jenkins. He has the mixtape show out in Dallas, Texas. All you guys rock with Duck City. We love that. We love y'all. And what y'all doing is super. It gives us a chance to be out here. Y'all been going hard. Y'all all got kids. Y'all all working. So I want to give a big shout out to all the platforms that's giving independent artists a chance to do their thing.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. and Emilio Egbar, Nonstop Radio Show, Kawan Jenkins, two dope people that if you guys are not connected with those people, you need to connect with them as an independent, man, because and there's never anything wrong with adding to another platform and another set of supporters. So definitely get out there with them. I support them and what they do. They're dope at what they do for sure.
Good guys, hardworking guys.
Thanks, us, man, because you guys are awesome. I'm happy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yo, and this goes back to the gatekeeper thing. I'm trying to kick the gate down. Fuck a gatekeeper. I'm trying to kick the gate down, okay?
I'm with it.
I'm
with it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, who's got a birthday or Earth Day experience they wanna share and give their social media information? We got Mr. Weeks left, and we got in the cut.
Valentine.
He's off in the cut.
I ain't got nothing really crazy, I can't think of anything that really sticks out, man. I'm just happy. My last birthday, man, you know what I'm saying? My next birthday would be my next best birthday, you know what I'm saying? I'm just happy to still be here, happy to be, still doing what we do. As hip hop artists, we supposed to be washed up and old right now at this point, and I feel like we're just getting better and better. You know what I mean? So we like on some fine wine with this, you know. So no crazy stories or events for any particular birthday. Like I say, my last birthday, I'm just happy to still be here. So want to shout out you, IAmMelodyWaters, for having us again. We always appreciate it. We see you out there working all the time. We appreciate it. Appreciate the fellas that was on the call. SongBird, man, this was a great you know, conversation, good topics. And like my man said, CHJ, we just dropped some new material Friday morning. It's on Bandcamp right now. We asking $1 for that. It's some more of that grown man, you know, grown man bars type of stuff. We trying to grow with as people, as artists, with the content. So yeah, that's out there.
About some distribution, man.
Definitely. And we put out a real dope project beginning of May that had to deal with the whole COVID situation. It's actually on Bandcamp as well, DuckCityMusic on Bandcamp. So you know, we just trying to step up our game, man. After this conversation, you know what I'm saying, I'm sure we'll get together and really analyze this whole talk, and I think it's gonna really make a difference in how we move forward as artists. You know, Duck City, you know, we don't got all the answers, you know what I'm saying? We definitely ain't too old to learn anything. So this type of conversation was good. I think it's gonna improve our artistry, you know what I'm saying? So again, social medias, like he said, DuckCityMusic, you know, no funny spellings, DuckCityMusic on pretty much all social medias. And I'm also In The Cut Music on Instagram, and you can find DuckCityMusic, CHJ, and DuckCityMusic In The Cut on Facebook. That's probably our biggest social media platform. We got the most followers there, but yeah, we everywhere, man. YouTube, all of that good stuff. So, you know, log on, follow, you know what I'm saying, all that good stuff. And once again, we appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Absolutely, for sure. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you guys for being here with me. And so we got, I wanted to say, I really like your shirt, CHJ, because I have the same one in pink.
Oh yeah, that pink. You know, these are called the Shadow series, and
like that. Yeah, I wear it.
I got some more merch coming in. We gotta get you in something fly. You too, Yogi. We gotta get you together, man. Get with us. Let us know what size you need. We'll get you together, bro. We can get you right, 6'3",
man. 6'3", you need a couple extras at least, right?
And
that's a big dude. He need a 4X.
Just to let y'all know, I support. Like I support. I buy. I don't ask for favors. I buy. I purchase. I support fully whenever it comes to business, man. Like we have our own. Like I'll get into that in my shout outs, but we have like our clothing lines in Esquire magazine. We got shoes in like Esquire and some other fashion magazines. Like we crank. Like we're full label. Like we. Woo! I gotta get that Ric Flair on him. Woo! Well, I appreciate it.
Yo, go ahead, Yogi1AO. Go ahead and give
my best birthday I ever had was, my birthday is June 2nd. So my best birthday was June 2nd, 2012. My first child, Adonis Xavier Weeks, was born on May 3rd that year. So it was my first birthday as a father. And my feelings were all type of mixed up. And I was so happy. I was so proud. I finally understood, you know, being a stepdad for a long time, you know, it's like always being a bridesmaid, never the bride, you know what I'm saying? You're good enough to raise them, but not good enough to get one, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, best birthday of my life, changed my life completely, definitely drove me to focus more and really realize that, like, I'm not just, I can't just do things because it's fun for me or because I think it'll make me popular. I have a young king out here that I need to lead. And if I'm strong enough to do all the ignorant shit, then I'm strong enough to do the positive shit too. My shout outs go like this. Okay, get ready, because I gotta do this shit like the micro mini machine guy. I don't want to take up too much more time. First and foremost, I have to give a shout out to Miss IAmMelodyWaters and her network, The Juice. I've been following you for years, Queen. I love what you do. I support, like, especially, like, I love that you have artists from my region on, and I just like I just pop up on the conversation like, hey, how you guys doing? You know, but you're definitely a positive queen. Definitely, I appreciate what you're doing and continuing, because it's not easy. It takes a lot of dedication, takes some fortitude to have something like this to continue to go and to grow into the Zoom and everything else like that. That's dope. I love being able to see the people I'm talking to. But shout outs for me go Sestre Bell, Ramik Venable, Lawan Sellers, Lafayette Pruitt, BOTBOG IT, Brandon Sims, Love Melanie, Sarita Rucker Brown, Precious Rum, Hawkins, Melissa Pritchard, Sergeant Major Villalobos, The Kid, Stephanie Yates, Joseph McDaniel, Jonathan N.K. Native King Williams, and Kiki Lachelle. All the artists, The Fleet, all the artists signed It's Gorgeous Music. I give a huge shout out to you all. I love the progress that we're making. That's my team. That's who I work for. Actually, I'm the A&R for. Huge shout out to the CEO. Huge shout out to Nate Florian. Huge shout out to my artists, to all my artists out there. Huge shout out to everybody that's still in entertainment, still pushing to develop themselves. And like you said, the development of an artist, you start rapping and you start seeing the other parts of the business that you have knowledge in, and you spread that. And I appreciate you, Kings, for that. Melody's a great example of that as well. And then my radio station, shout out WBOKRadio.com, Encore Live Show each and every Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself, my co-host, Miss Music, down in Tampa, Florida. She runs 813 Famous Studios. She also owns Team Music Radio. She's an A&R as well. Like, we put out great content. We have rappers, vocalists, screenwriters. We have a lot of people on. PR gurus, Matthew Knowles and his new group. Oh, shout out to Blush. Matthew Knowles' new group and everything they're doing with Mystical down there in Texas right now. Houston is still a problem. And shout out to everybody that's going through their contracts and about to sign what is gorgeous. It's time to, like, turn up, do good shit, be positive, stay up, stay blessed. Can you see me? Stay motivated. Work. That's the answer. You want to know how to win? Work consistently. It's not a lotto ticket. It's not a lotto ticket to get in the game. It's more work. It's more time away.
Man, it's busting your no sleep.
Look, I'm gonna give him a drill song in hand. Work. Nah. But for real, my thing I always say whenever I get off, man, love and respect to all kings and queens, everybody about peace and prosperity, to all the haters and to all the people that work to defy and try to be walls in a path of success, to my kings and queens. You will one day realize that you were less than a speed bump. You might slow something down, but you can't stop shit. Positivity outweighs negativity every time. Love outweighs ignorance every time. The knowledge of each other and love to each other outweighs anything negative that can come upon you. Old saying, a man can break one match, put a bundle of them together, he can't break it. It's village time, people. It's village time, people. It's each one teach one time, OGs. It's time for all my entrepreneurs, all my influencers, all my MCs, all my record execs, all to put some focus on not just making a dollar, but making a very strong impact into this urban community that needs guidance right now. With that being said, until next time, I'm Yogi1AO. Basically, I'm Larry, and I like to talk a lot.
Hey, yo, thank you so much, Larry, that likes to talk a lot. I appreciate you for being on today, man, and all the knowledge that you kicked to us. Definitely. I want to thank all of you for joining me today, man. You guys all brought some great conversation to our topics, and everybody was needed. Everybody was very valuable today, and I really appreciate all of you for being here with me. And for the people that have been here before, thanks for coming back, man, and checking out the new format with me. It's so great to see your faces, man. I love it.
Dope. What you're doing is dope, man. Thank you. This is we ready for the next time. And you don't say I can't wait. Say I'm ready.
I'm
hey yo, what we say it is. And if y'all want to have a conversation with me, Kings, you know, we ain't too far from each other as far as driving and all that other kind of mess. But if y'all want to have a conversation, I ain't one of these cats out here charging for, well, it's a $200 consultation if you want to talk this. Fuck out of here.
Nah, man, you dope. We love your energy. We love how hard you work. We love your energy.
If you can see me at the grocery store, I shouldn't charge you to have a conversation with you. That's that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's that bullshit.
$1. You know, holler for $1.
You know what I'm talking about? Players Club face ass nigga.
We appreciate you for real, man. I really thank you. I'm about to get my birthday started. I'm about to turn up.
Yes.
Oh, get it.
Happy
Get it.
God
Hey.
Day.
I'm 23. I turn 23 tomorrow.
23.
Hey, yo, shoot me one of your tracks. Shoot me your email address. I'll send you a track to party to.
Sounds good. I'm gonna do that too, man.
Oh yeah, my social media, it's gorgeousmusic.com. That's one way to find us. It's Gorgeous Music on an MUSIQUE, not It's Gorgeous Music. It's Gorgeous Music on all social media platforms. Me personally, I'm Larry Yogi Weeks on Facebook. I'm Yogi1AO on Twitter, Instagram, on LinkedIn. I'm Larry Yogi Weeks, and LinkedIn underneath entertainment, Larry Yogi Weeks, underneath logistics, armory, and mortuary affairs. That's just Larry Weeks. So if you need anything.
This man threw in mortuary affairs. On that note,
it was part of my MOS.
I'm dead. On that note, I'm dead.
Thank y'all for real, man. Thank you for real, Melody, man. We really appreciate you for real.
Dude, I appreciate you guys too, and I know everybody's itching to go. Let's get out. I want to thank you guys so much for coming through today, man. And I just want to say happy Earth Day to you. Peace and positive, successful vibes and all that you do, man. And to you guys out there, peace and positive, successful vibes to you as well, man. Don't let this world stop you from anything that you want. You can have it. So be a limitless being and go after anything you want. You just got to put your foot into it. You got to put a little work into it, but you can get it. Don't stop. Just keep persisting. Don't stop. Get it. Get it. Hey, anyways, thank y'all so much for tuning in to The Juice this week. Make sure you guys come back next week, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be here every Thursday, okay?
The juice.
Juice?
The juice.
The juice. It is. I got short but shorty.
And thank you for tuning in. If you want to find me on social media, my name is Melody Waters. I'm not hard to find. You can find me, IAmMelodyWaters. Everywhere you social media at, except for Snapchat, it's Melody's Closet. You can check me out. If you want to get your music on the juice, send me MP3s with your name, social media information, where you're from, and your cover art to IAmMelodyWaters@gmail.com. If you want to come on the show, I'd love to have you on. If you're an entrepreneur, independent business owner, independent artist of any kind, visual, musical, or any other kind of artist, I'd love to have you on the show. So check me out and send me information about you to thejuicebookings@gmail.com. And I was
bookings. You can book the juice.
Peace, juice, baby. Peace, y'all.
Whatever the fuck she saying. Ooh, I got the juice. Come get the news on what's new. Music's not all that I do. I'm the influence. Once I get into my zone, there's nothing you really could do. Watch how they move. I'm setting trends. I'm better than I ever been. I represent. Make you not wanna rap ever again. In my prime like I'm optimist. Minnesota knows who the option is. No need for the gossiping. Get it from the soldiers, watch and listen. Had a whole town talking different, walking different. I walk the talk and I talk my shh. Keep quiet when I'm talking kids. I'm the God and God forbid you interrupt me. I cover blasphemy, my sinners trust me. Then it's back to cheese, one then it's just me. And all my hooligans flush on my flesh, drink my blood like it's juice and gin. We're a family now, tie shoes and Timbs. It's a family meet and try to attend. I'm a superhuman, I got super strength, I got super make you lose your shit now. I got the juice, come get the news on what's new. Music's not all that I do, I'm the influence. Once I get into my zone, there's nothing you really could do. Watch how they move, I'm setting trends. I'm better than I ever been. I represent. Make you not wanna rap ever again. I got the juice, come get the news on what's new. Music's not all that I do, I'm the influence. Once I get into my zone, there's nothing you really could do. Watch how they move, I'm setting trends. I'm better than I ever been. I represent. Make you not wanna rap ever again. Ho! Juice. Yeah. Juice. Make you not wanna rap ever again. Ho! Juice. Yeah.
up ever again. Bye.